Tony Allen and O.J. Mayo's infamous plane fight. This one took off fast. Literally, back in early January of 2011, during a routine flight from Los Angeles to Memphis, things turned less first class and more like a low-budget brawl. It started with a card game called Boo-Ray, where Mayo lost around $7,500 to Allen. Instead of just taking the L, Mayo got mouthy. He refused to pay up and started running his mouth, bragging about being a higher draft pick and acting like Allen should be lucky to share the court with him. That went on for about 15 minutes. 15 full minutes. Even Zach Randolph tried to get in between and cool things down, but Mayo just kept going. Allen tried walking away, probably hoping Mayo would just chill, but nope. When he came back, Mayo was still at it. That's when Allen snapped. He decked Mayo in the face and followed it up with a flurry to the mouth, shoulder, and the side of his head. Mayo tried swinging back, but it was a failed attempt. Teammates jumped in before it got worse. The team responded by fining Allen and banning gambling during any team activity. Both guys came out saying they were good and even practiced together shortly after. Whether or not they actually hugged it out is a mystery, but what's real is that after this blow-up, the team's chemistry flipped. They went from 16-19 to 46-36, made the playoff, and took out the #1 seed. That fight somehow ended up lighting a fire under that locker room. Trade your star, get the first pick. When a team trades away a franchise star and then stumbles into the top pick, fans don't just raise eyebrows. They start crafting entire detective boards. In 2012, the New Orleans Hornets sent Chris Paul packing to the Clippers. Not long after, they snagged the first overall pick with less than a 14% chance. That alone had folks suspicious, but it got worse. At the time, the NBA actually owned the Hornets. Yeah, the league had just blocked a Chris Paul trade to the Lakers, claiming basketball reasons, and then boom, they land Anthony Davis. It felt too perfect. Fast forward to 2019, same city, different name. The Pelicans traded away Anthony Davis to the Lakers. The package was solid. Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and pick. But just before that deal, they jumped to the top pick with only a 6% shot. Then they drafted Zion Williamson, the most hyped prospect since LeBron. Once again, the timing looked just a little too clean. Then 2025 happened. Dallas flipped Luka in a wild 3-team trade and ended up with Anthony Davis. Months later, the Mavericks, with less than a 2% chance, won the lottery. Now everyone expects them to pick Cooper Flagg. Fans lost their minds. A team trades away a generational player and immediately lands another potential one. That's how conspiracy threads are born. Despite all this noise, the NBA insists everything's legit. The lottery process is private, with witnesses, media, and auditors making sure it's fair. Still, it's hard not to notice the pattern. 3 stars out, 3 top picks in. Odds low, suspicions high. Pete Maravich has predicted his death. Back in 1974, Pete was just 26 and still lighting up the league with his wild creativity and insane scoring. During an interview, he casually dropped a quote that's haunted basketball fans ever since. He said he didn't want to play 10 years in the league and die of a heart attack at age 40. That's exactly what happened. He played exactly 10 seasons in the NBA, from 1970 to 1980. Then on January 5th, 1988, while playing a pickup game in Pasadena, he collapsed and died. Just like that. He was 40 years old. The cause? A rare heart defect. Turns out he was born without a left coronary artery. His right artery had enlarged over time to try and do double duty, but it eventually gave out. No one ever caught it. Not a single doctor flagged it. This guy played a decade of professional basketball, and no one knew he had a missing artery. It's one of the most unsettling coincidences in sports history. That quote wasn't something dug up years later either. It was published at the time. The journalist who interviewed him remembered it clearly and confirmed it after Pete's death. He couldn't believe it either. Maravich was known for being unpredictable on the court, but no one expected that offhand comment to come true. And yet, here we are. He's still remembered as one of the most talented guards to ever play. But this one moment, this one line, has kept his story alive in a whole different way. Basketball legend with a tragic twist. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to be posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, the Big Three was planned years prior. This move didn't just shake the NBA, it redefined it. But it didn't happen overnight. LeBron James, D. Wade, and Chris Bosh all came into the league in 2003, and that draft class connection ran deep. By 2006, they were already posing together for magazine covers. Then came the 2008 Olympics. That's where they really started cooking up the idea of playing together someday. While they were building friendships, Miami's front office was plotting. Pat Riley started clearing salary cap space way back in 2006. By 2010, the Heat had around $46 million ready to drop. That's enough room for 3 max contracts. and Riley was ready to spend every cent. Wade was the first domino. He re-signed with the Heat on July 7th. Bosh followed on the 10th, choosing Miami over Chicago. And then the broadcast heard around the world. LeBron announced on July 8th that he'd be taking his talents to South Beach. It raised $2.5 million for charity, but also raised the blood pressure of every Cavaliers fan on earth. They were introduced in style on July 9th at a full-on party inside the American Airlines Arena. All three signed 6-year deals. Wade re-signed outright. LeBron and Bosh arrived through sign and trade deals. What followed? 4 straight finals appearances and 2 championships. That core didn't just win, they changed how teams think. Superstars teaming up wasn't new, but this was next level. The Heat's big three weren't built by trades or luck. It was a plan. A long, deliberate, player-driven plan that rewrote the rules of team building. Michael Jordan's high school cut myth. This one gets repeated like a motivational poster, but it's not the full truth. Back in 1978, Jordan was just 15 and trying out for the varsity squad at Laney High School. He was 5'10", which sounds decent, but compared to his friend Harvest Leroy Smith, who was 6'7", Jordan looked small. The team had 10 returning seniors, which barely left space for anyone new. Smith got the nod, mostly because they needed size, not because he was more skilled. Jordan didn't get cut from basketball. He was placed on junior varsity, which was totally normal for sophomores. But yeah, he was furious. He went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. That moment stuck with him. Instead of sulking, he turned it into fuel. He started training like a maniac. Early mornings, late nights, non-stop practice. Over the next year, he shot up about 4 inches and sharpened every part of his game. By the time junior year rolled around, he made varsity and turned into a star. What gets lost in the overhyped version of this story is that it wasn't some shocking failure. It was just a teenager being told to wait his turn. But that wait lit a fire. The idea that he was cut from the team has become legendary. It's used to prove that hard work beats rejection. And sure, the story works for that. But the truth is, he wasn't thrown out. He just didn't skip the line. And that small moment, more than the myth, is what really shaped his drive. Clyde Drexler's grew up playing on an 11-foot hoop. Most kids dream of dunking on a regulation hoop. Clyde was out there flying at an extra foot higher. As a kid, the neighborhood hoop he used wasn't regulation. It was set at 11 feet. And instead of complaining, Drexler just went with it. He said that once he finally pulled off a dunk on that thing, dunking on a standard 10-footer felt like a layup. That little tweak in his environment turned into a serious advantage. He didn't just jump higher, he made it look easy. That's where the nickname Clyde the Glide comes in. His dunks weren't just powerful, they were smooth, like he was floating. You don't get that kind of elevation and grace without putting in some weird reps. And 11 feet? That's weird. Most players develop their hops in gyms or on playgrounds with official rims and predictable conditions. Drexler basically trained like he was playing on expert mode before he ever set foot in a real game. That 1-foot difference forced him to develop explosive power, better timing, and more confidence in the air, and it paid off big time. He didn't become one of the best finishers in the league just by accident. That backyard rim probably did more for his game than any fancy training program. It made 10 feet feel like nothing. So while other kids were slapping the backboard and feeling proud, Clyde was already soaring past that, gliding through the air like it was no big deal. 11 feet. Who does that? Clyde did. Wilt Chamberlain's 20,000 claim. This one might be the most infamous stat ever dropped by a basketball player, and it wasn't even about basketball. In 1991, Wilt released his autobiography and casually stated that he'd slept with 20,000 women. Not 2,000, 20,000. That breaks down to about 1.2 women a day, every day, starting from when he was 15 years old. He based the number off an observation by his friend Rod Rodewig, who saw Wilt with 23 different women over 10 days. Chamberlain multiplied from there. The public reaction? Predictably chaotic. It came during the AIDS crisis, and a claim like that didn't exactly land softly. But Wilt insisted he wasn't bragging. He said he wasn't trying to flex, just being honest about his lifestyle. He described sex as a major part of his life, almost like basketball. His words, not mine. Later on, he did walk it back a bit, not in the numbers, but in meaning. In a 1999 interview, he said he realized being with one woman many times brought more value than constantly chasing new ones. It was one of the few times he showed a shift in perspective on the subject. Now, the math is the problem. Keeping up that pace while also playing full NBA seasons, traveling, practicing, and doing media feels more fiction than fact. No known kids, no lawsuits. Just the legend. Whether it's accurate or not, the claim added to Wilt's already larger-than-life image. On the court, he was dominant. Off the court, stories like this made sure people never stopped talking. 20,000. Even his stats had stats. Michael Jordan's treatment of Kwame Brown. This one's a brutal chapter. In 2001, Brown came into the league straight from high school as the top pick. He was just 19. Michael Jordan, who was the Wizards' president of basketball operations at the time, had reportedly wanted to flip that pick for Elton Brand, but the owner, Abe Pollan, shut it down. That left Brown stuck on the roster and stuck with expectations he didn't sign up for. When Jordan came out of retirement to join the Wizards as a player, things went from bad to worse. Multiple accounts say he came down hard on Brown, not tough love hard, more like humiliating. Former assistant coach John Bach said Jordan would berate Brown in front of everyone, sometimes reducing him to tears. And yeah, the language was way out of line. Brown himself later said that Jordan brought in older physical players during practice just to rough him up. He described the sessions as being designed to beat the crap out of me. That's not exactly player development. It's closer to hazing. Publicly, Jordan didn't hold back either. He criticized the team often, and Brown got caught in the blast radius. Jordan called out the squad in interviews, questioning their work ethic, their toughness, and basically making it known that he didn't trust the guys he was playing with. The pressure crushed any chance for Brown to grow. He was young, raw, and suddenly under the microscope with one of the most intense competitors ever breathing down his neck. Years later, Brown spoke out about that time, pointing to it as a major reason his career never found steady ground. That pick was more than just a bad fit. It was a setup for failure. Corey Maggetti's pointy delts. This might be one of the most unintentionally hilarious urban legends the NBA's ever produced. According to a Reddit tale from 2018, lifted from an old Slam magazine, Maggetti's shoulders were so dense, so sharp, that defenders allegedly avoided reaching in because they didn't want to jam their fingers. Yes, apparently the man's deltoids were classified as a workplace hazard. Now, Maggetti was built like a comic book character. 6'6", somewhere between 225 and 250 pounds, depending on who you ask, and all of it muscle. He was one of those guys who looked like he did curls between possessions. His arms had their own area code. This wasn't just gym hype either. He was relentless in the paint, and his game was all about driving through contact and getting to the line. Over 30% of his points came from free throws, and he had one of the highest foul drawing rates in the league. The myth adds to his legacy. He wasn't a superstar, but his build, his style, and now his alleged delt-based deterrence strategy have made him a cult figure. It's likely just exaggerated storytelling, but in a league that's had players injure themselves, sneezing or eating too much, a guy turning shoulders into weapons, honestly, doesn't feel that far off. Larry Bird's left-handed game. On February 14th, 1986, he pulled off one of the most absurd flexes in NBA history. Facing the Portland Trail Blazers, Bird, very much a right-handed shooter, decided to spend a chunk of the game going left. Not because he had to, just because he wanted to. Before the game, he reportedly told teammates he was saving his right hand for the Lakers. That alone is a wild statement. But then he went out and dropped 47 points, 14 rebounds, and 11 assists in overtime. Just casually handed the Blazers an L while working on his offhand. Out of his 21 made field goals, 10 were with his left. He went 3 for 3 from deep, as if to say, I could torch you normally, but let's spice things up. This wasn't some blowout where he was playing around late in garbage time. The game was tight the whole way and went to overtime. He was actually competing, and he still chose to mess with the sliders. Bird wasn't doing this for a stunt. He was just that competitive and that bored. He needed a challenge, so he gave himself one. The performance has lived on, not just because of the numbers, but because of what it represented. Bird's confidence wasn't ego, it was backed by ridiculous skill and relentless execution. Most players would be lucky to have a 47-point triple-double once in their career. Bird did it left-handed just to entertain himself. That's not just talent, that's a different level of psychological warfare. Hakeem versus Vernon Maxwell. This wasn't your average teammate scuffle, it was almost a prison yard incident with a scoreboard. In 1993, during a game against the Seattle Supersonics, Maxwell was already fuming at halftime over his performance. He was letting it all out in the locker room, and Hakeem had seen enough. Hakeem confronted him, told him to stop whining and get it together. Maxwell responded like you'd expect Vernon Maxwell to respond, by running his mouth. Bad idea. Hakeem slapped him. Not a tap. A full-on sit-you-down slap that launched Maxwell into a chair. Glass broke, chairs flew, and Maxwell completely lost it. He reportedly tried to grab something to retaliate, and it took teammates, coaches, and security to stop things from escalating into full chaos. Maxwell's version of events makes it even wilder. He's talked about it in interviews, saying he wanted to stab Hakeem after the slap. Police had to be involved, not your average halftime adjustment. Somehow, after all that, they both came out in the second half and helped the Rockets win 86-81. That's the part that's so insane. No suspension, no benching. Just two teammates throwing hands in the locker room, then hitting clutch shots together 20 minutes later like nothing happened. This wasn't some minor disagreement. It was an eruption of ego, emotion, and frustration, but it didn't destroy the team. That year, the Rockets weren't just talented. They were volatile, intense, and maybe just crazy enough to win. That altercation, just part of the journey. Biggie's I Got a Story to Tell is about Anthony Mason. For years, it was just a slick, cinematic track on life after death, a tale of suspense, sex, and improvisation. The song walks through a wild night where Biggie hooks up with a woman, only for her boyfriend, an unnamed New York Knicks player, to walk in. Biggie fakes a robbery, ties her up, pulls a gun, and takes the guy's cash before disappearing into the night. The track became instant hip-hop folklore, and for nearly 2 decades, fans speculated about who the mysterious Nick was. Then in 2016, Fat Joe casually dropped a bomb on Highly Questionable, naming Anthony Mason. Later, Diddy co-signed it on The Breakfast Club, basically confirming the worst-kept secret in barbershop debates. Mason was known for his bruising style on the court and his nightlife reputation off it, so the reveal didn't exactly stun people. But still, hearing it tied to one of rap's most detailed stories, that pushed it into legend territory. The overlap of two iconic New York figures, Biggie and Mason, just made the tale feel even more real. Now, whether every detail in the song is 100% true, that's up for debate. Even Diddy admitted there may have been some creative license involved, but the Mason name stuck, and it's been part of the narrative ever since. What started as a punchline in a story rap ended up linking two very different icons forever. Whether fact or stylized fiction, the mystery around that Knicks player gave the track staying power, and Mason, knowingly or not, became part of rap history. Kevin Love's hand injury in 2012. Officially, he broke the 3rd and 4th metacarpals on his right hand doing knuckle push-ups. That was the story the Timberwolves and Love stuck to, even though it immediately set off a wave of side eyes and internet speculation. Because let's be honest, how many guys are out here shattering their shooting hand while doing knuckle push-ups in their condo? Love called it a freak accident, said he was just sticking to his training regimen and kept a straight face through every interview. No slip-ups, no elaboration, just, yep, push-ups got me. Meanwhile, the public reaction was exactly what you'd expect. Fans and message boards lit up with alternate theories. The wildest and most persistent, that he punched a fridge after catching his girlfriend cheating. That version, of course, came with zero confirmation. No teammates backing it, no insiders leaking it, just classic online rumor energy. It spread fast, but never went anywhere legit. No reporter ever nailed it down, and Love never cracked. So what we're left with is a tale that sounds just strange enough to be real, but suspicious enough to feel like a cover. No team wants to say their franchise guy injured himself in a rage, but also, what franchise wants to claim he hurt himself doing something as avoidable as push-ups? The only confirmed version remains the push-up storyline. Whether people believe it or not hasn't really changed its official status. It's one of those injuries where the truth might never fully surface. What did surface? A broken hand, 6 to 8 weeks out, and a whole lot of confused headlines. Bob Cousy's almost Knicks moment. In 1950, the Tri-Cities Blackhawks drafted him 3rd overall. Problem was, Cousy had no interest in playing for them. He wanted to stay in the Northeast, and he wasn't exactly thrilled about the money either, so he straight up refused to report. The Blackhawks tried flipping his rights to the Chicago Stags, but then the Stags folded before the season even started. Classic early NBA chaos. With the Stags gone, the league had to figure out what to do with their player. So they held a dispersal draft lottery. 3 names stood out: Max Zaslavsky, Andy Phillip, and Bob Cousy. The Knicks were in that lottery. They had a legit shot at landing Cousy and rewriting their history. Instead, the Boston Celtics got him. That part still stings in hindsight. Even funnier, Red Auerbach didn't even want Cousy at first. He had his eyes on other players and wasn't sold on Cousy's flash. But once Cousy hit the court, that doubt disappeared. He went on to rack up 13 All-Star appearances and became one of the greatest point guards in basketball history. Meanwhile, the Knicks were left wondering what could have been. It's one of those bizarre sliding door moments the NBA's full of. A star nearly lands on one team, ends up on another, and changes the course of league history. If that lottery ball had bounced a different way, Cousy could have been dazzling at the Garden instead of driving the Celtics dynasty. Instead, New York missed their shot, and Boston struck gold. Penny Hardaway's name, origin. Let's clear this one up, because people still manage to butcher it in barbershops and trivia nights. First off, his actual first name, Anne Fernee wasn't some clerical error or southern remix of Anthony. His mother, Faye, picked it on purpose. She named him after a classmate she admired. So no, it wasn't a hospital typo or her struggling with phonics. She meant it, spelled it that way, and stuck with it. Now, the nickname. This part's a little more charming. His grandmother, Louise, used to call him Pretty, but with her thick southern accent, what came out sounded more like Penny, and that's what everyone else started calling him. Pretty turned into Penny, and just like that, a basketball nickname icon was born. It wasn't a branding move or a team gimmick. It was a sweet slip of the tongue from Grandma that turned into a household name. Together, those names, Anne Fernee and Penny, ended up defining one of the smoothest point guards to ever step on a court. You see Penny, and you think of that #1 jersey, silky crossovers, and those unforgettable commercials with Lil Penny. But behind the glitz was just a guy with a unique name and a grandma who accidentally gave him one of the best nicknames in NBA history, Tony Braxton and the Mavericks breakup. This one's been floating around NBA circles since the mid-90s, like a catchy hook from a slow jam. The story goes that R&B icon Tony Braxton somehow broke up the Dallas Mavericks' 3 J's, Jason Kidd, Jim Jackson, and Jamal Mashburn. The rumor? She had plans with Kidd, skipped out, and showed up with Jackson instead. Cue the drama, cue the tension, cue the team falling apart. Except, not really. Jason Kidd has flat out denied the whole thing. Said he never met her, not once. According to him, the story had a mind of its own. Jim Jackson backed that up too, saying the real issues had nothing to do with anyone singing ballads in a silk dress. Mashburn chimed in as well, saying it wasn't about a love triangle. It was about ego, youth, and poor leadership. And that makes a lot more sense. You had 3 insanely talented players in their early 20s, all trying to be the guy, with no veteran voice in the locker room to glue it together. That's a recipe for chaos. Add in media pressure and fan expectation, and you've got a classic implosion, not a heartbreak saga. But the Braxton angle stuck, probably because it's juicier than players had chemistry issues. It turned into a legend, and legends don't really need evidence. They just need a good story. In the end, the Mavericks didn't lose their core over a singer. They lost it the old-fashioned way, with mismatched priorities and too many alphas, not enough adults. Michael Jordan's golf, gambling stories. You've probably heard whispers, but the Richard Esquinas tale is the one that really put a dollar sign on the habit. In 1993, Esquinas, a businessman and amateur golf, dropped a memoir where he claimed Jordan racked up $1,250,000 in golf debt. That's not a typo. According to Esquinas, Jordan negotiated it down to $300,000, paid $200,000, and then stopped. Just ghosted the final chunk. Jordan didn't deny the gambling. He admitted to playing with Esquinas, but said the debt never went past $300,000. He also questioned the guy's motives. Basically said, cool story, bro. Nice book sales. And honestly, he might have had a point, because it didn't stop there. Charles Barkley once shared that Jordan would bet $100,000 on a single putt. Not a game, a putt. In another game, Barkley said he was handed a $1,000 putt by Jordan because Jordan was focused on the much bigger fish on the next hole. Comedian Cedric the Entertainer said playing golf with Jordan meant you better bring 10 grand just to keep up hole to hole. Jordan's own explanation? He said he pushed the envelope, sure, but he didn't call it a problem, just part of who he is. A competitive outlet. On 60 Minutes, he even asked, is it compulsive? And then answered himself like, well, depends how you look at it. According to him, it never threatened his finances or family. So yeah, the dollar amounts are insane. But the bigger takeaway? Jordan wasn't just competing in the NBA. He was out here trying to win everything, even on the greens, even if it cost 6 figures. Earl Monroe's own goal conspiracy. Yep, this one's actually true, and it's one of the weirder footnotes in NBA history. March 10th, 1977, the Knicks were up on the Trailblazers, things were winding down, and then Monroe casually launched a shot into his own basket, right as time expired. That's how you end up on an FBI notepad. The Knicks still technically won the game, 108-104, but the shot flipped the betting spread. The line was Knicks by 5.5. Monroe's backwards bucket brought the final margin to 4, meaning the Blazers covered. People who had money on the Knicks, not thrilled. Naturally, this triggered alarms. The NBA launched an investigation to determine whether Monroe had just handed a payday to some lucky gamblers. His explanation? He forgot which basket he was standing at. Also claimed he thought the game had ended already, which is not great. But it was the 70s, and Monroe was a fading star stuck on a middling team with a bunch of tired legs from the last glory run. Now, the FBI was already sniffing around due to a separate tip. Someone had claimed to be working with a Knicks player to shave points. They tried to get him to place a bet, but the guy always backed out, making excuses. Nothing ever materialized. No arrests, no hard proof, just whispers. In the end, Monroe was cleared. No suspension, no fine, just a very strange legacy moment. The man's in the Hall of Fame, has a ring with the Knicks, and also has the rare distinction of being investigated for point shaving because he dunked on himself. Eric Gordon played Michael Jordan's son in Space Jam. The Eric Gordon in Space Jam, not the NBA player. This rumor's been bouncing around for years, probably because both Erics were born in 1988, and apparently that's all some people need to go full conspiracy mode. But no, the kid who played Marcus Jordan in Space Jam is a totally different Eric Gordon. The actor Eric Gordon has a few credits, including Space Jam and a couple of lesser-known shows. The basketball, Eric Gordon, yeah, the one who's spent over a decade splashing threes for the Clippers, Rockets, and Suns, has never stepped foot on a movie set unless someone filmed him walking into a game. The confusion's understandable, though. Same name, same birth year. In Space Jam being the pop culture juggernaut that it is, someone connected the dots wrong and never stopped running with it. Even the Los Angeles Times had to write a whole clarification piece on it. So no, the NBA Eric Gordon wasn't acting as a kid in a blockbuster with Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny. He was probably in Indiana working on his jumper. The Eric Gordon in Space Jam, just a child actor who shares a name with a future pro, one who probably hears about it every time someone Googles too fast. Wilt Chamberlain, volleyball legend? Yeah, that happened. After retiring from the NBA in 1973, Chamberlain decided that dominating one sport wasn't enough, so he jumped into volleyball, and not just as a side hustle. He went all in. In 1975, he helped found the International Volleyball Association, a short-lived but very real professional co-ed league. He wasn't just a figurehead, he was the president, the face, the promotional engine, and yes, a player. He suited up for the Southern California Bangers and the Seattle Smashers, because of course he did. Those names are very real. His volleyball skills, raw in spots, his passing and setting weren't exactly poetry, but his spiking, that was terrifying. Imagine trying to block Wilt Chamberlain at the net. Teammates said his power was ridiculous. Opponents just hoped to survive. But Wilt didn't stop at just playing. He used his fame to give volleyball some much needed shine. He sponsored events, organized showcases, and kept the media talking. In a country where volleyball rarely gets attention, Wilt made people look, and the payoff? He was inducted into the International Volleyball Hall of Fame. That's not an honorary nod. They recognized him for his real influence on the sport's growth in the US. That puts Wilt in rare air, someone honored at the highest level in 2 professional sports. So yeah, after rewriting basketball's record book, Wilt spent the next chapter of his athletic life jumping over volleyball nets. Not content with just being great, he wanted to change the game. Again, the Matt Barnes and DeMarcus Cousins nightclub brawl. This one got messy, but let's clear up the myth. On December 5th, 2016, after a Kings-Knicks game, Barnes and Cousins hit up Avenue nightclub in Manhattan, and that's where things spiraled. According to reports, in the civil lawsuit, Barnes allegedly choked a woman named Jasmine Basiso, and when her boyfriend Myrone Powell tried to intervene, Cousins allegedly punched him. Barnes was also accused of elbowing Basiso and continuing to assault Powell after he hit the ground. That's the story that made headlines. Now here's where the legend kicks in. People started whispering that Barnes took the fall for Cousins, like he stepped in legally to protect his teammate. But let's not pretend this is a mafia flick. Barnes pled guilty to disorderly conduct and did community service. Cousins, meanwhile, was named in the lawsuit, but didn't face criminal charges. That's not taking the fall. That's one guy ending up in court while the other one wasn't charged. No court documents, police statements, or credible reports ever backed up the idea that Barnes threw himself on the sword for Cousins. It's more likely that Barnes got more attention because he's Barnes. Volatile reputation, long history of on and off court chaos, and a knack for getting headlines. Bottom line, both were there, both were involved, both were sued. But legally speaking, there's no proof Barnes shielded Cousins. That part's just urban legend smoke, not legal fire. Fattest player, Oliver Miller, holds one of the craziest records in NBA history. During his 9-year career, Miller's weight fluctuated between 375 and 380 pounds. That made him the heaviest player ever to play in the league, and he was only 6'9". Despite his size, Miller played 493 games across 6 different teams. His best season came with the Raptors, when he averaged almost 13 points, 7 rebounds, nearly 3 assists, and almost 2 blocks per game. After the NBA, he kept playing around the world until 2010. Other massive players include Shaquille O'Neal, who reached 360 pounds, and Eddie Curry, who topped out at 305th. Even Taco Fall weighed in at over 300 pounds during his short time in the league, even though he was skinny. Worst three-point percentage. Charles Barkley owns the record for the lowest career three-point percentage among players who've taken at least 1,000 attempts. Barkley shot a rough 26.6% from deep, making 538 threes out of 2,020 tries. Even though he's a Hall of Famer, Barkley's long-range shooting was never a strong part of his game, but he wasn't alone. Corey Brewer finished his career hitting just 28.2% from three. Josh Smith wasn't much better at 28.5%. Ron Harper, Isaiah Thomas, D. Wade, and Derek Coleman also struggled, each shooting below 30% from beyond the arc. Even some of the greatest players in NBA history had their weaknesses. Shortest player. Muggsy Bogues holds the record as the shortest player in NBA history. Standing at just 5 feet 3 inches, Bogues played an incredible 14 seasons in the league. He was drafted 12th overall by the Washington Bullets in 1987, then became a franchise player for the Charlotte Hornets. Bogues led the team in assists and steals for years. He racked up 6,726 assists, almost 7,000 points, and over 1,300 steals during his career. Even though he was small, Bogues managed to block 39 shots, including one against 7-foot-tall Patrick Ewing. Before the NBA, he starred at Wake Forest, leading the conference in steals and assists. After retiring, he coached in the WNBA and became an ambassador for the Hornets. Worst team. The Charlotte Bobcats hold the record for the worst season in NBA history. During the 2011 to 2012 season, they finished with 7 wins and 59 losses. That gave them a brutal winning percentage of .106, the lowest the league has ever seen. They closed out that season with a painful 23-game losing streak, which even carried over into the next year. Paul Silas was the head coach during this tough stretch. Gerald Henderson led the team in scoring, averaging just over 15 points a game. And after all that losing, they still didn't land the top draft pick. Instead, they got the 2nd overall selection and chose Michael Kidd-Gilchrist in the 2012 draft. That season is a rough chapter in Charlotte's history, but it's one fans and players will never forget. Biggest blown lead. The Denver Nuggets hold the record for the biggest blown lead in NBA history. On November 27, 1996, they were up by 36 points against the Utah Jazz. The Nuggets led 70-34 just before halftime, but things fell apart fast. In the second half, the Jazz outscored them 71-33 and stormed back to win 107-103. Karl Malone put up 31 points and grabbed 17 rebounds. Jeff Hornacek added 21 points, and John Stockton chipped in with 13 points and 12 assists. For Denver, Bryant Stith scored 31, and Dale Ellis dropped 25. Antonio McDyess had 15 points and 11 rebounds, but it wasn't enough. That 36-point collapse is still the largest blown lead in league history. Player traded the most times. Trevor Ariza holds the record for being traded more than anyone in NBA history. He was traded 11 times and played for 10 different teams, covering nearly a third of the entire league. Drafted in 2004 by the New York Knicks, Ariza started his career with limited opportunities. After 2 quick trades, he landed with the Los Angeles Lakers. That's where he finally broke through, becoming a starter during their 2009 championship run against the Orlando Magic. After that, he played for the Houston Rockets, New Orleans Hornets, and Washington Wizards. He returned to Houston in 2014 and had his longest stay, playing 382 games over 4 seasons. Later, he had stints with the Phoenix Suns and Sacramento Kings. In November 2020, he was traded 3 times in just 5 days. His final trade was to the Miami Heat in 2021. Most finals lost. Jerry West holds the record for the most NBA finals losses by any player. During his legendary career with the Los Angeles Lakers, West appeared in 9 NBA finals between 1962 and 1973. Out of those 9 trips, he only won 1 championship in 1972. That means he lost 8 finals, more than any player in the league history. 6 of those losses came against the Boston Celtics. They beat him in 1962, 1963, 1965, 1966, 1968, and 1969. He also lost twice to the New York Knicks in 1970 and 1973. Despite all those losses, West made history in 1969 by becoming the only player ever to win finals, most valuable player, while playing for the losing team. Worst win percentage. Hollis Thompson holds the record for the lowest personal win percentage in NBA history. During his career, Thompson's teams won just 53 games while losing 212. That gave him a win percentage of only 20% across 265 games played. Most of his time was spent with the Philadelphia 76ers from 2013 to 2017, right in the middle of their rebuild. He also had a brief stint with the New Orleans Pelicans in 2017. Despite the losses, Thompson was a reliable shooter. He averaged nearly 8 points per game, shot over 38% from three-point range, and grabbed just over 3 rebounds per game. But no matter how well he played individually, his teams struggled badly. Worst losing streak. The Detroit Pistons and Philadelphia 76ers are tied for the longest losing streaks in NBA history. Both teams lost 28 games in a row, but under different circumstances. The Pistons streak happened entirely in the 2023 to 2024 season. From October 30th to December 30th, they dropped 28 straight games. They finished that year with a 14-68 record, the worst in franchise history. Monty Williams was their head coach, but was fired in June 2024 after only 1 season. The 76ers streak spanned 2 seasons, from March 27, 2015 to December 1st, 2015. They finished the 2014 to 2015 season at 18-64 and went 10-72 the next year. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to start posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, slowest player. Jared Sullinger holds the record for being the slowest player at the 2012 NBA Draft Combine. He ran the 3/4 court sprint in 3.81 seconds, which was the slowest time recorded that year. In the lane agility drill, he clocked in at 12.77 seconds, also the slowest among all participants. Standing 6 feet 9 inches tall and weighing 268 pounds, Sullinger still managed to get drafted 21st overall by the Boston Celtics. Despite his slow testing numbers, he carved out a solid 5-year NBA career. He averaged almost 11 points and 7.5 rebounds per game. His no-step vertical was 29.5 inches, and his max vertical was 31 inches. Even though speed was not his strength, Sullinger was still a beast. Worst free throw percentage. Ben Wallace holds the record for the lowest career free throw percentage in NBA history among players with at least 1,000 attempts. Over his career, Wallace took more than 2,000 free throws, but only made 41.4% of them. That's the lowest percentage ever recorded by someone with that many tries. Opposing teams often used the hack-a-shack strategy against him, fouling him on purpose to take advantage of his struggles at the line. But even with that weakness, Wallace dominated on the defense. He won 4 NBA Defensive Player of the Year awards and was a huge part of the Detroit Pistons' 2004 championship run. His free throw shooting might have been rough, but his impact on the court was never in question. Most losses. Vince Carter holds the record for the most losses by any player in NBA history. Over his 22 seasons, Carter played for 8 different teams, including the Toronto Raptors, New Jersey Nets, Orlando Magic, Phoenix Suns, Dallas Mavericks, Memphis Grizzlies, Sacramento Kings, and Atlanta Hawks. Across 1,541 regular season games, he experienced 756 losses. That's more than any player in league history. Despite that, he also collected 785 wins, giving him a career winning percentage just over 50%. Carter's long career meant he spent time with teams in every stage, including several rebuilding rosters, but his longevity also helped him rack up more than 25,000 career points and 8 All-Star selections. Most misses. LeBron James holds the record for the most missed field goals in NBA history. Over his long career, James has missed 14,994 shots. But with that many misses comes plenty of makes. He's also knocked down 15,392 field goals. His role as a primary scorer and playmaker on every team he's been with has led to a massive number of shot attempts. And with a career spanning more than 2 decades, those numbers just kept climbing. Before James, Kobe Bryant held the record with 14,481 misses, while Karl Malone finished with 13,528. James may top the list for missed shots, but he's also the NBA's all-time leading scorer. Most turnovers. LeBron James again. He holds the record for the most turnovers in NBA history. Over his career, James has turned the ball over 5,437 times. As the primary ball handler and playmaker for every team he's played on, James has always carried a huge offensive load. That kind of responsibility leads to a lot of opportunities and mistakes. Right behind him is Russell Westbrook, who's turned it over 4,766 times. Karl Malone ranks 3rd with 4,524, and John Stockton sits 4th with 4,244. All 4 players spent their careers constantly handling the ball, running offenses, and making plays. Most missed dunks. DeAndre Jordan holds the record for the most missed dunks since the NBA began tracking play-by-play stats. He's missed 300 dunks in his career. Even with all those misses, Jordan's been one of the most dominant finishers around the rim. He's racked up seasons with over 200 dunks, including 253 in 2016 to 2017 and 252 in 2014 to 2015. Despite the missed slams, Jordan holds the NBA record for the highest career field goal percentage at 67.4%. He also led the league in rebounds per game for 2 straight seasons, from 2013 to 2015. The missed dunks stand out, but they never stopped Jordan from being a major force in the paint. Most free throws missed in a game. Andre Drummond holds the record after missing 23 free throws in a single game. During the 2015 to 2016 season, the Houston Rockets used the hack-a-Drummond strategy and fouled him 21 times. Drummond ended up shooting 36 free throws, but only made 13. Despite all the misses, Detroit still won the game. If we're looking at most consecutive free throws missed in a game, Chris Dudley missed 13 straight free throws on April 14th, 1990. Dudley was already known for his struggles at the line, and this game took things to another level. He finished his career as one of the worst free throw shooters ever, and for worst free throw percentage in a game by a team. The Detroit Pistons shot a brutal 18% from the line during the 2016 to 2017 season. On March 1st, 2017, they played the New Orleans Pelicans. Andre Drummond shot 1 for 10 and got ejected, capping off a miserable night. Most three-pointers missed in a game. James Harden and Damon Stoudemire share the record for the most missed threes in a single game. Both players missed 16 three-pointers. Harden's done it 6 different times, including an ugly one for 17 performance against the Orlando Magic. Despite that, he still finished with 38 points, 12 assists, and 9 rebounds in that game. Classic Harden. Stoudemire missed 16 threes back in 2005 while playing for the Portland Trail Blazers. That was back when teams were barely shooting 16 threes in an entire game. Both guys kept firing, no matter how many misses piled up. Most field goals missed in a game. Joe Fulks holds the record after missing 42 shots in a single game. During the 1947 to 1948 season, Fulks threw up 55 shots and only made 13. His Philadelphia Warriors were blowing out the Providence Steamrollers, and instead of slowing down, Fulks kept firing. This was long before anyone thought about load management. Back then, these kinds of shooting nights weren't that rare. Fulks also had games where he shot 4 for 31, 6 for 38, 5 for 31, 7 for 36, 7 for 40, and 8 for 46. The man never stopped shooting. Most career technical foul. Karl Malone holds the record for the most technical fouls in NBA history with 332. Right behind him is Charles Barkley, who racked up 329 over his career. Rasheed Wallace sits third with 317, and Gary Payton rounds out the top 4 with 250. These players were known for their intensity, trash talk, and fiery tempers, which led to plenty of whistles from the referees throughout their careers. Worst coaching record. Roy Rubin holds the record for the worst coaching record in NBA history. During the 1972 to 1973 season, Rubin coached the Philadelphia 76ers to a brutal 4-47 record. He had answered an ad in the paper to land the job, but things went downhill fast. The team started 0-15, and it took him a month just to get his first win. After 51 games, Rubin was fired, while the team was in the middle of a 20-game losing streak. Player-coach Kevin Lowry took over from there. According to reports, the players had already stopped listening to Rubin weeks earlier, with Fred Carter saying it was like letting a teenager run a big corporation. Rubin even celebrated a preseason win against the Celtics, even though they only played their third stringer's shortest NBA career. James Curry holds the record for the shortest NBA career ever. He played just 4 seconds in a single game for the Los Angeles Clippers during the 2009 to 2010 season. Curry was signed to a 10-day contract and got subbed in during the final moments of a loss to the Boston Celtics on January 25th, 2010. In those 4 seconds, he didn't record any stats. No points, no rebounds, nothing. That was his entire NBA career. Most foul. Kareem holds the record for the most personal fouls in NBA history with 4,657. Right behind him is Karl Malone, who racked up 4,578 fouls during his career. Robert Parrish sits third with 4,443, and Charles Barkley rounds out the top 4 with 4,421. These players spent years on the court playing physical basketball and often guarding the best players in the league. That kind of longevity and tough play led to a lot of whistles. Longest suspension. Meta World Peace, formerly known as Ron Artest, holds the record for the longest suspension in NBA history for an on-court incident. He was suspended 86 games after his role in the malice at the Palace Brawl on November 19, 2004. The fight broke out between the Indiana Pacers and Detroit Pistons after Artest fouled Ben Wallace with under a minute left in the game. Things escalated when a fan threw a drink at Artest, leading him to charge into the stands. The brawl involved players and fans, and Artest was suspended for the rest of the season, 73 regular season games and 13 playoff games. He also lost around $5 million in salary. That suspension still stands as the longest in league history. Most playoff games without a championship. Karl Malone and John Stockton hold the records for the most playoff games played without ever winning an NBA title. Malone appeared in 193 playoff games during his time with the Utah Jazz and Los Angeles Lakers. He averaged 24.7 points, 10.7 rebounds, and 3.2 assists in the postseason. Stockton played in 182 playoff games, all with the Utah Jazz. He averaged 13.4 points, over 10 assists, and nearly 2 steals per game in the playoffs. Both players led the Jazz to the NBA Finals in 1997 and 1998, but lost both times to the Chicago Bulls. Malone made one more Finals appearance in 2004 with the Lakers, but never won a championship. Most turnovers in a game. Jason Kidd holds the record for the most turnovers in a single game with 14. It happened during the 2000 to 2001 season in a matchup against the New York Knicks. At the time, Kidd was playing his final year with the Phoenix Suns. Even with all those turnovers, he still managed to finish with a triple-double, 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. If you count the turnovers, he had a quadruple-double that night. Worst, plus-minus. Sharif Abdur-Rahim holds the record for the lowest career plus-minus in NBA history, with a total of minus 2,904. Over 12 seasons, he played for the Vancouver Grizzlies, Atlanta Hawks, Portland Trail Blazers, and Sacramento Kings. Despite his individual success, averaging over 18 points and 7.5 rebounds per game, his teams consistently struggled. Most of his career was spent on rebuilding squads that racked up losses, which dragged his plus-minus down. Even with the rough team records, Abdur-Rahim was an All-Star in 2002, made the All-Rookie First Team in 1997, and won an Olympic gold medal in 2000. After retiring, he worked in front offices and later became the president of the NBA G League. Most three-pointers missed in a game without a make for a team. The Denver Nuggets hold this record after missing all 22 of their three-point attempts in a game during the 2012 to 2013 season. It happened against the Portland Trail Blazers in December 2012. Despite going 0 for 22 from deep, Denver only lost that game by 8 points. This was the same Nuggets team that had games where J.R. Smith hit 11 threes and Ty Lawson made 10 in a row. But let's make it, most consecutive three-pointers missed. The Houston Rockets missed 27 straight threes in Game 7 of the 2018 Western Conference Finals. They started with a double-digit lead at halftime, but couldn't buy a bucket from deep. James Harden went 2 for 13, Eric Gordon went 2 for 12, and Trevor Ariza missed all 9 of his attempts. The Rockets ended up losing 101-92, and their shot at the NBA Finals vanished. Longest playoff drought. The Los Angeles Clippers hold the record for the longest playoff drought in NBA history, missing the postseason for 15 straight seasons. The drought lasted from the 1976 to 1977 season through the 1990 to 1991 season. During that time, the franchise went through major changes, starting as the Buffalo Braves, relocating to San Diego in 1978, and then moving to Los Angeles in 1984. The team struggled with losing records, constant coaching changes, and frequent roster turnover. They finally ended the drought in the 1991 to 1992 season, finishing with a 45-37 record. In the playoffs, they lost to the Utah Jazz in a 5-game series. Even after snapping the streak, the Clippers continued to face challenges until the Lob City era in the early 2010s. Fewest field goals made in a game for a team. The Orlando Magic hold the record after making just 16 field goals in a single game. It happened during the 2011 to 2012 season in a matchup against the Boston Celtics. On that night, Orlando shot a brutal 16 for 65 from the field and lost 87-56. The team was still a playoff contender at the time, but they completely fell apart offensively in that game. Ryan Anderson went 0 for 8, Dwight Howard shot 4 for 15, and Jameer Nelson made just 2 of his 5 attempts. The bench did not fare much better. Glenn Davis shot 2 for 9, missed both of his shots. As a team, they hit only 4 out of 16 three-point attempts. It was one of the worst offensive performances in NBA history. Biggest halftime deficit. The Sacramento Kings hold the record for the largest halftime deficit in NBA history, trailing by 47 points. It happened during the 1991 to 1992 season in a game against the Golden State Warriors. By halftime, the Kings were down 88 to 41. The Warriors, led by Tim Hardaway and Chris Mullin, completely dominated from start to finish. Mitch Richmond, who had recently joined the Kings from Golden State, did not play that night. The Warriors shot 57.4% from the field, dished out 38 assists, and grabbed 60 rebounds. Sacramento struggled badly, shooting just under 40% and committing 28 turnovers. Golden State cruised to a 153-91 win. Least points. The Chicago Bulls hold the record for the fewest points scored in an NBA game since the shot clock was introduced in 1954. On April 10th, 1999, the Bulls managed just 49 points in a blowout loss to the Miami Heat. The final score was 82-49 at the United Center. Chicago scored only 8 points in the first quarter and 10 points in the third. They shot a brutal 23.4% from the field, making just 18 of 77 attempts. From three-point range, they missed all 9 shots. They even struggled at the line, hitting 13 of 24 free throws. Cornell David led the Bulls with 13 points and 10 rebounds, while Tony Kukoc added 10 points. For Miami, Tim Hardaway finished with 22 points, and Alonzo Mourning added 19, along with 7 blocks. Lowest scoring quarter for a team. 2 teams share the record for the lowest scoring quarter in NBA history, each putting up just 2 points. The Dallas Mavericks did it first during the 1996 to 1997 season. On April 6, 1997, they scored only 2 points in the third quarter against the Los Angeles Lakers. Dallas actually led by 14 at halftime, but missed all 15 of their shots in that quarter. Their only points came from 2 free throws by Derek Harper. They ended up losing 87-80. The Golden State Warriors matched the record during the 2003 to 2004 season. On February 8, 2004, they scored 2 points in the fourth quarter against the Toronto Raptors. Golden State had a 16-point lead going into the fourth, but collapsed completely. The Raptors tied the game at 81 and forced overtime. Toronto then outscored the Warriors 3-0 in overtime and won 84-81. Fastest ejection. Rasheed Wallace holds the record for the fastest ejection in NBA history. On December 2nd, 2012, Wallace was tossed just 1 minute and 25 seconds into a game between the New York Knicks and the Phoenix Suns. His first technical came after a hard foul on Luis Scola, which he immediately argued with the officials. Moments later, after Goran Dragic missed a free throw, Wallace shouted his signature line, "Ball don't lie." That earned him his second technical foul and an early trip to the locker room. Wallace was no stranger to technicals, leading the league multiple times during his career. Even with his quick exit, the Knicks went on to win the game 106-99. Most games missed. Joel Embiid holds the record for the most games missed in NBA history due to injury for a star. As of February 28, 2025, Embiid has missed 400 games in his career. He's played in 446 games, meaning he's missed nearly 47% of his possible regular season appearances. Embiid has battled injuries throughout his career, and he's currently ruled medically unable to play for the rest of the 2024 to 2025 season because of a lingering left knee injury. Despite all the missed time, Embiid remains one of the most dominant big men in the league when he's on the court. Least assists. Wilt Chamberlain holds the record for scoring the most points in a game without recording a single assist. On January 13th, 1962, Chamberlain dropped 73 points in a game where he did not register an assist. His Philadelphia Warriors beat the Chicago Packers 135-117. Chamberlain shot 29 for 48 from the field and made 15 of 25 free throws. He also grabbed 36 rebounds that night. That season, Chamberlain averaged an unbelievable 50.4 points per game, including his famous 100-point game later that year. Even without passing for a single basket, he dominated the game in scoring and rebounding. Most technical fouls in a season. Rasheed Wallace holds the record with 41 technical fouls in a single season. It happened during the 2000 to 2001 campaign while he was playing for the Portland Trail Blazers. Wallace picked up those 41 technicals in just 80 games. That kind of total isn't even possible under today's rules. Now players are suspended for 1 game after their 16th technical and for every additional technical after that. But back then, Wallace's constant arguing with referees led him straight into the record books. Most missed layups. Since the NBA began tracking play-by-play data in 1996 to 1997, Russell Westbrook holds the record for the most missed layups. Westbrook has missed 2,898 layups in his career. Right behind him is LeBron James, who's missed 2,617. Carmelo Anthony comes in third with 2,563, and Allen Iverson rounds out the list with 2,301 missed layups. Worst finals record for a team. The Orlando Magic hold the record for the worst winning percentage in NBA Finals history, with a record of 1 win and 8 losses. They've made 2 appearances in the finals. In 1995, they were swept 4-0 by the Houston Rockets. Game 1 was especially painful, with Nick Anderson missing 4 straight free throws late, allowing the Rockets to tie it and win in overtime. In 2009, the Magic faced the Los Angeles Lakers and lost the series 4-1. Their only finals win came in Game 3 of that series, where they pulled out a 108-104 victory. Despite strong playoff runs led by stars like Shaquille O'Neal and Dwight Howard, the Magic still hold an 11.1% winning percentage in the finals, the lowest of any team. Most 3-1 leads blown. Doc Rivers is the only coach in NBA history to blow 3 separate 3-1 series leads in the playoffs. The first came in 2003 when his 8th-seeded Orlando Magic were up 3-1 on the top-seeded Detroit Pistons. The Magic lost the next 3 games and dropped the series 4-3. In 2015, Rivers' Los Angeles Clippers held a 3-1 lead over the Houston Rockets in the Western Conference semifinal. They even had a 19-point lead in Game 6 before collapsing. The Rockets came back and won the series 4-3. Then in 2020, Rivers' Clippers blew another 3-1 lead, this time against the Denver Nuggets. The Clippers had double-digit leads in Games 5 and 6 but couldn't hold on. Denver won the series in 7 games. No other coach has lost 3 series after leading 3-1. Lakers Celtics. This thing's been pure madness for over 70 years, and it's never cooled off. Way back, the Celtics were busy stacking titles like it was a hobby, while the Lakers just kept coming up short over and over. Boston snatched 11 rings in 13 seasons, and the Lakers had to sit there losing to them 6 different times. Then the 80s hit, and it turned wild. Magic and Bird basically dragged the whole league out of irrelevance, turning every matchup into a full-on event. Fast forward, Kobe and Boston's Big Three picked the fight right back up, giving everyone more drama. The Lakers finally got their payback in 2010 just to keep things spicy. Now, it's still nasty. Tatum, LeBron, and even Luka are keeping this fire alive. But the Celtics do have 18 rings, while the Lakers are stuck at 17. LeBron Curry. These two have been going at it forever, and people act like it's some friendly little duel, but no, it's been pure chaos. LeBron was hyping up Curry back in the Davidson days like they were best friends, texting him before games, but the second Curry's Warriors got good, that whole friendship vibe disappeared fast. The finals from 2015 to 2018 were just a straight-up war. LeBron dragged the Cavs to that insane comeback in 2016, and everyone treated it like the biggest thing ever. Then Durant crashed the party, and Curry's Warriors basically ran the table for the next 2 years. Even after Cleveland, it stayed personal. LeBron's Lakers smacked Curry's Warriors in the 2023 playoffs, and people acted like it settled something, but it didn't. Off the court, they're pretending it's all love, but they both know it's never been friendly. Shaq Kobe. This rivalry was pure chaos from the start, and honestly, it never let up. Shaq rolled into the Lakers already larger than life, and Kobe showed up straight from high school, acting like he owned the place. Right away, they were clashing. Shaq thought Kobe was selfish, and Kobe thought Shaq was lazy. Even when they were winning titles, it was a mess. They grabbed 3 straight championships, but they could barely stand each other. Shaq skipped workout. Kobe trained like a maniac, and every win felt like it barely held them together. By 2004, it exploded. Shaq got shipped to Miami, and the shots kept flying. Shaq won first and mocked Kobe in raps. Then Kobe fired back by stacking rings of his own. Eventually, they patched it up, but let's be real. This rivalry carried the Lakers and gave the league non-stop drama for years. Magic Bird. These two basically saved basketball from falling into total irrelevance, and they did it by flat out hating each other on the court. It all kicked off in college, when Magic's squad ruined Bird's perfect season in the title game, and Bird acted like Magic didn't even exist afterward. Then they both hit the league, and everything exploded. Magic landed in flashy Los Angeles, Bird in gritty Boston, and the whole thing turned into East Coast versus West Coast with non-stop tension. Their finals matchups were brutal, with Boston stealing one in '84, but the Lakers came back to take 2 out of 3. These guys checked each other's stats every morning like it was a full-time job. Even when they finally became friends, you could tell that fire never died. Between them, they won 8 titles and made the league must-watch every single night. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to start posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Rondo, Chris Paul. These two have hated each other's guts for what feels like forever, and it all started with Rondo getting iced out of the 2008 Olympics, while CP3 got the nod. Rondo never let it go, and by 2009, he was throwing it in Paul's face, telling him straight up he had a ring and Paul never would. Things boiled over fast, with Paul nearly storming into Boston's locker room looking for a fight. But the real explosion came in 2018 with the full-blown brawl. Rondo supposedly spat at Paul, punched him clean in the face, and the whole league went nuts. Players were picking sides, like it was a playground fight. Even after the dust settled, Rondo kept running his mouth, calling Paul a horrible teammate. And yeah, they've pretended to cool it since, but make no mistake, that beef never really died. Knicks Celtics. This rivalry's been dragging on forever, and honestly, it's a little brutal how one-sided it's been. The Celtics have basically owned the Knicks, stacking win after win, while New York fans keep pretending it's close. Boston leads the whole thing by over 100 games, and it's not getting any prettier. Back in the 70s, the Knicks had their little moment, knocking off Boston in the conference finals and even grabbing a title in '73. But since then, Boston's just run circles around them. The Celtics even swept the Knicks in 2011, like it was nothing. Even lately, Boston's been bullying them, winning 3 straight blowouts in 2025. Fans love hyping up the whole Garden versus Garden thing, but honestly, it's been Boston's party for years. No matter how much the Knicks talk about pride, Boston keeps shutting them down every time. LeBron Durant. This matchup has been ridiculous from the start, and it's only gotten messier over the years. Early on, LeBron was just bullying Durant every chance he got, stacking wins like it was easy work. Durant could score, but it never mattered because LeBron kept walking away with the wins. Then Durant pulled the ultimate move, ditched OKC, and hopped on the Warriors' juggernaut. Suddenly, the whole thing flipped. Durant started torching LeBron in the finals, grabbing back-to-back rings and finals MVPs, while LeBron had to watch it happen. After that, injuries kept them off the court, and fans got robbed of some serious battles. When they finally faced off again in 2023, it felt like catching the last few rounds of a heavyweight fight. No matter how much respect they throw at each other, these two have always been locked in a straight-up power struggle. Wilt Russell. This rivalry was straight-up legendary. And honestly, it felt like Wilt spent his whole career chasing Russell and never quite catching him. Wilt would drop absurd numbers, pulling down 55 rebounds in a game, or dropping 30 points like it was light work. But Russell's teams just kept winning. They met almost 100 times in the regular season. And even though Wilt put up video game stats, Russell always seemed to have the upper hand. Playoffs? Same story. Russell's teams took 7 out of 8 series, like they had Wilt's number on speed dial. Even when Wilt finally got his first ring in '67, it felt overdue. Then Wilt moved to the Lakers, thinking it'd change everything. But Russell still blocked his path one last time. They didn't even speak for 20 years after, because yeah, it was personal. This rivalry never let up. Chris Paul, Scott Foster. This has to be one of the pettiest, most ridiculous beefs in the league, and it's been dragging on forever. It kicked off in 2008 when Foster worked Paul's Game 7 loss, and it's been downhill ever since. Even when Paul managed a rare playoff win with Foster reffing, it barely mattered because the losses kept stacking. Foster even honked at Paul while he was with his kid, like this was some street feud. They had a meeting to squash it, but obviously, that didn't work. Foster kept hitting Paul with texts, delays of game, you name it. Paul fired back, calling Foster out every chance he got, saying the whole thing was personal. Even after snapping a brutal losing streak in 2023, Paul still could not let it go. No matter what, this beef refuses to die. Shaq Dwight. This one's been petty from the jump, and it's never really cooled off. Dwight got drafted by Orlando, same as Shaq, and instead of just playing it cool, he went full copycat, throwing on the Superman cape at the dunk contest like he owned it. Shaq saw that and instantly took it personal, like Dwight had stolen his identity. Then Shaq kept the shots coming, calling other centers better than Dwight just to stir the pot. Dwight tried to brush it off, but Shaq kept poking, even posting a ridiculous dunk meme like this was middle school. When Dwight took his game overseas to Taiwan, Shaq clowning him got even louder, calling it a glorified pickup league. Dwight fired back, saying Shaq's just salty. By 2025, Dwight even joked about fighting him, but Shaq waved it off like he was too busy for the drama. Pistons, Pacers. This rivalry's been nasty forever, and it just keeps finding new ways to explode. It started back in 1990 when the Pistons smacked the Pacers out of the playoffs on their way to a second straight title. Things simmered until 2004 when they clashed in the conference final, and the Pistons took them down again before winning it all. But the real chaos hit with the malice at the Palace. A drink got tossed, Ron Artest lost it, and players were throwing punches at fans like it was a street fight. Suspensions flew, and the league freaked out with new rules overnight. Even after that, they kept the tension alive. In 2025, things got heated again with scuffles and ejections, including Isaiah Stewart getting tossed for a wild shove. No matter how much time passes, these two teams never seem to cool off. Jokic and Embiid. This rivalry's disappointing. They faced off 8 times, and Embiid's squads have taken 6 of those wins, leaving Jokic playing catch-up. Embiid's been going off in these games, dropping 47 points in one, then following it with 41 and 10 assists, like it's routine. Meanwhile, Jokic still puts up solid numbers, but Embiid's got that extra fire in these matchups. But half the time, Embiid doesn't even play. Even with all the regular season drama, they've never met in the playoff, which kind of leaves everyone waiting for the real showdown. Jokic is flexing with 3 MVPs in a championship, but Embiid's still right there with an MVP and scoring title. Whenever these two step on the floor, it's a battle of style, and neither one's backing down anytime soon. When it even happens in the first place though, Luka Booker. This rivalry's been pure entertainment, and honestly, it just keeps getting spicier. It all started with Luka's rookie debut, where Booker dropped 35 points and made sure Luka's first game felt like a welcome party from hell. But Luka bounced back quick, torching Phoenix for 42 points the next time they met. The real fireworks hit in the 2022 playoffs, when Luka's Mavs smacked the Suns in 7, including that humiliating blowout in Game 7. Ever since, it's been personal. They've had face-to-face stare-downs, trash talk, and plenty of games where they straight up went at each other. Luka went nuclear on Christmas, dropping 50, while Booker fired back with a career-high 46 not long after. No matter the game, it feels like these two are constantly trying to one-up each other, and neither's backing down for a second. Lakers Nuggets. This rivalry's been heating up fast, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. Sure, the Lakers owned Denver for years, running up the playoff wins like it was automatic, but lately, the Nuggets have flipped the whole script. In the 2024 playoff, Denver embarrassed the Lakers in 5 games, with Jamal Murray hitting dagger shots and Jokic playing like he was built in a lab. Even during the regular season, they traded punches, splitting the series 2-2, but it felt like Denver had the upper hand when it counted. Luka, landing in Los Angeles, has made things even more chaotic, dropping 31 points in a big win and keeping the Lakers alive in the race. Still, Jokic keeps torching them, carrying Denver while they fight for the top spot. Every game between these two feels like a heavyweight bout right now. Kings Warriors. These teams share the same backyard, so every game turns into a loud, hostile mess, with fans flooding each other's arenas. The Kings lit things up early in the 2025 season, smacking the Warriors by 30 and chanting "Light the beam" right in their faces. But the Warriors fired back hard, taking the next 2 games with big wins of their own. Last year's playoff series is still burning in everybody's memory, where Curry casually dropped 50 in Game 7, basically telling Sacramento to go home. Even with the regular season split this year, every matchup feels like a street fight. Both teams are scrapping for playoff spots, and neither's backing down. No matter what, Kings-Warriors games always feel like they've got extra weight to them. Dunk and Shaq. This rivalry was straight up heavyweight mayhem, and every time they clashed, it felt like the league shook a little. Duncan brought the smooth, steady game, while Shaq just bulldozed through people like they were folding chairs. They went head-to-head over 60 times, and it was as even as it gets. Split playoff wins, tight battles, and 0 love lost. Duncan's Spurs smoked Shaq's Lakers in '99, sweeping them clean, but Shaq fired back hard, flipping the script with 3 straight playoff series wins. And let's not forget that wild 2004 showdown, where Duncan thought he hit the dagger, only for Derek Fisher to bury him with that ridiculous buzzer beater. Career-wise, Duncan stacked more titles, but Shaq always made sure to leave dents in his path. Every game between them felt like a war in the paint, and neither ever backed down. Lakers, Clippers. This so-called rivalry's been one-sided forever, but lately, it's actually felt like a real fight. For years, the Lakers treated the Clippers like background noise while stacking banners. But the Clippers finally started swinging back. They had their little run, beating the Lakers 11 times straight, until LeBron and Luka decided enough was enough. In 2024, the Lakers snapped that streak in overtime, and it flipped everything. Luka's been a menace since landing in Los Angeles, dropping 31 and 29 points to keep the Lakers in control. Meanwhile, Kawhi's tried to carry the Clippers, putting up big numbers, but it has not been enough. The Lakers took 3 out of 4 games this season, flexing hard in the hallway rivalry. But right now, it feels like the Lakers have the keys, and they're not giving them back. Kobe Dwight. This whole thing was rocky from the start, and honestly, it never really got smooth. Way back in Dwight's rookie year, Kobe baptized him with a vicious one-handed dunk, like a personal welcome to the league. From there, it only got more complicated. When Dwight joined the Lakers in 2012, people thought it was going to be a dream team, but it turned into a mess real quick. Kobe pushed Dwight like he was in boot camp, but Dwight was way too laid back for that energy. They barely clicked, and after a rough season, Dwight bailed for Houston like he could not get out fast enough. The tension didn't stop there. Next season, they got into it again, with Kobe straight up calling Dwight soft on the court. Years later, Dwight admitted he mishandled it, but deep down, you know that fire between them never fully burned out. Jordan Barkley. This one's wild because it started like a bromance and crashed into a full-on Cold War. Both got drafted in '84, hit the league as instant stars, and somehow managed to stay tight even while going at each other on the court. They even teamed up on the Dream Team, played golf together like old pals. And yes, sometimes they did that in the middle of playoff series, because why not? But when it came to head-to-head, Jordan owned Barkley like it was his side quest. Regular season, playoffs, it didn't matter. Jordan's teams took most of the wins while dropping buckets for fun. In the '93 finals, Barkley won MVP, but Jordan dropped 41 a game just to make sure Chuck stayed ringless. Later, Barkley criticized Jordan's front office mess, and Jordan iced him out completely. Friends turned rivals. Harden Giannis. This rivalry's been pure entertainment, mostly because neither of them could resist throwing jabs when things got heated. It really blew up during the 2019 MVP race, when Giannis snagged the award while Harden was out here dropping over 34 points a night and claiming politics robbed him. Then Giannis went full petty at the 2020 All-Star Draft, saying he skipped Harden because he wanted someone who'd actually pass the ball. Harden naturally didn't let that slide, firing back with the infamous line about how being 7 feet and just dunking takes no skill at all. On the court, it's been dead even, with both their teams splitting wins in both the regular season and playoff. Even though the beef cooled off, that back and forth still sticks in people's heads. No matter how they spin it, these two left their mark on each other's legacy. Draymond Gobert. This rivalry's been straight up ridiculous, and Draymond keeps pouring gas on the fire every chance he gets. Head to head, Green's teams have owned Gobert's, especially in the playoffs where it's been a clean sweep. But things really exploded in 2023 when Gobert tried to play peacemaker during a scuffle, and Draymond locked him in a headlock like it was a wrestling match. Green got tossed, Gobert called it clown behavior, and the league handed Draymond a 5-game suspension. Did that cool it down? Not even close. Draymond kept chirping, mocking Gobert for getting benched during the Olympics and throwing shade from the inside the NBA desk, like it was his side gig. Gobert fired back, but honestly, Draymond lives for this kind of chaos. Every time they face off, it's like watching two guys who cannot stand breathing the same arena air. Knicks Pacers. This rivalry's been pure hostility for decades, and it never takes a night off. Back in the 90s, it was straight up warfare, with the Pacers and Knicks throwing haymakers every spring. Reggie Miller absolutely loved ripping the hearts out of Knicks fans, and that wild 8 points in 9 seconds still haunts Madison Square Garden like a bad ghost story. Knicks fans got their revenge too, like Larry Johnson's miracle 4-point play in '99 that flipped an entire series on its head. Lately, the Pacers have had the upper hand, knocking the Knicks out in 7 tough games in 2024. But the Knicks punched back this season, taking 2 out of 3 in the regular season, with Karl Anthony Towns lighting them up for 40. Every time these two meet, it feels like the past crashes straight into the present, and the hate just keeps flowing. Dirk Wade. This rivalry had everything: bitterness, revenge, and a heavy dose of drama. It kicked off in the 2006 finals, where Wade basically torched Dirk's Mavericks and snatched the trophy while Dallas melted down. Wade averaged almost 35 points a game, and Dirk had to sit there and watch it happen. Fast forward to 2011, and Dirk got his payback in brutal fashion. He led the Mavs to a 4-2 win over Miami, with Wade and LeBron mocking Dirk's illness mid-series like it was middle school antics. Dirk called it childish, then went out and took the title anyway. Head-to-head, they stayed pretty even, but the finals battles defined them. Years later, they buried the beef and admitted the respect was always there. But make no mistake, when it mattered, this rivalry brought out the absolute fire in both of them. Magic Isaiah. This story's been one of the wildest rides in NBA history. Friends turned rivals, turned strangers, and somehow they found their way back. Early on, Magic and Isaiah were basically brothers, hanging out off the court and even sharing pre-game kisses like it was all love. But then the finals hit. In '88, Magic's Lakers barely escaped the Pistons in 7 games, and the next year, Isaiah flipped the script and swept Los Angeles clean. Things got messy fast. After Magic's HIV announcement in '91, he believed Isaiah was spreading rumors, and their friendship completely cracked. The Dream Team snub made it worse, with Magic admitting he helped keep Isaiah off the squad. For years, they barely spoke. But in 2017, they finally sat down face to face, aired it out, and made peace. Decades of tension ended with one emotional hug on live TV. Nuggets Timberwolves. This rivalry's been heating up fast, and honestly, it's gotten way too personal to ignore. The Timberwolves flat out owned the Nuggets this season, sweeping them 4-0 like they were on a mission. Even in the wild double overtime game, Jokic dropped a ridiculous 61-point triple-double, and they still lost by a single point. Anthony Edwards came through with 34 points and just kept making big plays. Playoff history between these two is tight, and in 2024, the Timberwolves flipped the script. They stormed back from 20 points down in Game 7, bounced the defending champs, and punched their ticket to the conference finals for the first time in 20 years. Both teams have been stacking moves just to outdo each other, and every matchup feels like it's dragging them deeper into this scrap. Right now, it's pure bad blood every time. Shaq Yao. This matchup was pure spectacle. Two giants going at it, with every fan glued to their screens just to see who'd win the clash of style. Shaq came in like a wrecking ball. Pure power, no apologies. Yao brought size and finesse, and right away in their first game, he sent a message by swatting Shaq's first 3 shots like it was nothing. Sure, Shaq still finished with 31 points that night, but Yao wasn't backing down. Their battles stayed tight in the regular season, splitting wins nearly down the middle. Playoffs, Shaq flexed hard, taking the series 4-1 in 2004, but Yao still made him work for every bucket. Stat-wise, Shaq scored more. Yao out-rebounded him, and both blocked shots like their reputations depended on it. In the end, even Shaq admitted Yao earned his respect, and honestly, he had no choice. Dr. J. Bird. This thing was pure hostility, wrapped in old-school basketball. Bird and Dr. J didn't just compete, they straight up went at each other, like it was a matter of personal survival. Their head-to-head record could not have been tighter, dead even in both the regular season and playoffs. But Bird had the edge on the boards, and with his playmaking, always stuffing the box score like he was in a rush. Now, the fight? Oh yeah, they actually scrapped in 84 at the Boston Garden. No soft shove and walk away, this was full-on fists flying. Both of them getting ejected while the crowd lost its mind. And somehow, they turned all that tension into a video game called One-on-One, where fans could live out the rivalry themselves. Between the real punches and the pixelated ones, this was one of the fiercest matchups the league's ever had. LeBron Pierce. This one was pure tension from the jump. No handshakes, no soft moments, just bad blood disguised as basketball. Their head-to-head, it's about as close as you'll ever see, with LeBron barely edging Pierce by 1 win overall. But numbers tell a louder story. LeBron flat out owned the stat sheet every time they squared up, torching Pierce with nearly 30 points a game. Things started getting spicy all the way back in 2004 with a little preseason scuffle, and it never cooled down. In 2008, they threw haymakers in a Game 7 shootout, Pierce dropping 41, LeBron answering with 44, but Pierce's Celtics took the series. 2 years later, Pierce and the Celtics ended LeBron's Cleveland run, basically shoving him to Miami. But in 2012, LeBron came back for revenge, nuking Boston with 45 points and breaking the Celtics for good. Ewing Hakeem. These two went at it like it was a personal grudge that lasted decades. It all started in college, with Ewing throwing his weight around at Georgetown and Hakeem figuring things out at Houston, still looking like a soccer player trapped in a basketball game. When they first squared off, Ewing's physicality shut Houston down, and when they met in the championship, Ewing took the crown, while Hakeem had to admit he got out-muscled. Fast forward to the NBA, and they kept the tension alive. Drafted 1 year apart, both were supposed to save their franchises, and they didn't disappoint. Hakeem had that ridiculous footwork and timing, while Ewing just bullied people in the paint. They split most of their battles, but Hakeem always had that slight upper hand. When it all came to a head in the '94 finals, Hakeem closed it out, proving once and for all who ran the show. Jordan, Isaiah. These two genuinely could not stand each other, and it showed from the start. Back in the '85 All-Star game, Thomas made sure Jordan barely touched the ball, like the league needed reminding who ran the East. Thomas kept denying it, but way too many players confirmed the freeze out. Add in the fact that Thomas, a Chicago native, had to watch Jordan take over his city, and the tension was set. In the playoffs, the Pistons bullied the Bulls for 3 straight years, using every cheap shot in the book. Thomas ran the show, and the Pistons owned the rivalry early. But once 91 hit, the Bulls flipped the script and swept Detroit clean out of the playoff. Thomas led that infamous walk-off, ducking handshakes like it would give him the flu. Then came the Dream Team drama, with Thomas left off and Jordan conveniently silent. Duncan, Dirk. These two battled like it was their full-time job for nearly 2 decades. Duncan came in first, already looking like a grown man handling business in San Antonio, while Dirk rolled into Dallas a year later, still figuring out how not to fall over every other possession. Head-to-head, Duncan got the better of it, winning over 50 games against Dirk, but Dirk never backed down. Duncan had the rebounding, shot blocking, and all that grimy defense work locked down, while Dirk just kept dropping buckets with that impossible fadeaway. Their playoff matchups were nasty, with Duncan usually controlling the paint, but Dirk stole the show in 2006, carrying Dallas past San Antonio in a brutal 7-game series. Even as they aged, they kept trading blows, refusing to fade quietly. Duncan's 5 rings gave him the edge, but Dirk's relentless scoring kept the rivalry alive. Suns Spurs. Spurs always had the upper hand, winning over 100 games in 5 of 8 playoff series, but the Suns never quit chasing them down. In 2005, Duncan and Manu led the charge. Then came 2007, and the Suns were robbed by suspensions after that chaos with Horry's hip check on Nash. The Spurs took full advantage, like they always did. Even in 2008, Duncan casually hit a 3 he had no business making. But in 2010, the Suns finally flipped the script and swept San Antonio clean off the court. It was fast-paced firepower against methodical execution. Nash flying down the floor while Duncan kept things grounded. No matter the season, this rivalry never cooled off. Frazier West. West was already torching the league by the time Frazier showed up, dropping close to 30 points a game like it was casual. Early on, West's Lakers took most of the wins, but Frazier caught up fast. When they met in the finals, Frazier's Knicks won 2 out of 3 series, including that legendary Game 7, where Frazier exploded for 36 points and 19 assists, basically doing everything. West could still score from anywhere, but Frazier's defense was a nightmare. Even when West finally got his ring in '72, it was Chamberlain carrying the load. While Frazier actually outplayed West in that series, their rivalry balanced raw scoring against smothering defense, with Frazier holding the edge when it mattered most in the playoffs. Bird Isaiah. These two went at it like it was personal, and honestly, it kind of was. Bird Celtics owned the early part of the rivalry, winning way more games, but Thomas never made it easy. Even when the Celtics were rolling, Thomas kept pushing, dishing out assists like it was second nature. The playoff battles were brutal, especially in '87 when Bird stole that inbound pass and flipped the entire series. Thomas had to live with that one for a while. By '88 though, the Pistons finally broke through, sending Boston packing and starting their own run at the top. Off the court, things got heated too, with Thomas and Rodman making wild claims about Bird's hype. Bird just brushed it off, not giving it any oxygen. Over time, the respect grew, but they never lost that sharp edge every time they faced off. Lakers Kings. This one's got everything: drama, bitterness, and just enough delusion to keep it alive. The Lakers owned this thing for decades, racking up over 300 wins, while the Kings spent most of their time just trying to stay relevant. Back in the early days, the Lakers smacked the Royals around, grabbed titles, and left Sacramento's future looking grim before it even started. Then came the early 2000s, when the Kings finally got bold. Webber, Bibby, and Divac turned the Kings into a real threat, pushing the Lakers to 7 brutal games in 2002. Of course, that series is still a sore spot in Sacramento, thanks to some, let's say, creative officiating. Since then, the Lakers grabbed more rings, while the Kings fell apart. Lately though, the Kings flipped the script, winning 10 of 13 since 2022, but they still need playoff payback. Jordan Magic. These two legends clashed 18 times, and Jordan came out on top with the 11 wins to Magic's 7. Their battles were pure fire, with Jordan averaging over 30 points a game against Magic's 19. I mean, Jordan's defense was no joke, snagging 2 steals a game, while Magic dished out nearly 12 assists like it was nothing. The 1991 finals? That's when Jordan snatched his first ring, taking down Magic's Lakers 4-1, a torch-passing moment. Off the court, things got spicy too, especially during the 1992 Dream Team practices, where Jordan's crew smoked Magic's squad, and Magic wasn't happy about it. They even trash-talked over titles, with Jordan shutting down Magic's 5-ring flex. Man, their rivalry flipped the NBA from Magic's team vibe To Jordan's solo superstar reign, Spurs-Mavs. This Texas rivalry's been a roller coaster of dominance, heartbreak, and pure basketball drama. The Spurs hold the all-time edge, winning 119 regular season games to the Mav 92, plus a 4-2 playoff series lead. But don't let that fool you, this feud's had its moments. The 2006 Western Conference semifinals was legendary. Dirk Nowitzki dropped 37 points in Game 7, outdueling Tim Duncan's 41 to send the Mavs to the finals. Duncan got the last laugh though, with 5 rings to Dirk's 1. Fast forward to now, and it was Luka versus Victor Wembanyama before the trade. Luka's owned the recent matchups, putting up 34 points in January, but Wemby's starting to bite back with 25 points in their November win. The Spurs built their legacy on defense and teamwork, while the Mavs rode Dirk's scoring and then Luka's magic. It's a clash of styles, pride, and pure Texas basketball. And with Davis versus Wemby, it's only getting hotter. Knicks Bulls. This rivalry's been pure chaos since the 80s, with the Bulls owning the Knicks when it mattered most. Chicago leads the all-time series 165-139, including a brutal 6-1 playoff record against New York. Jordan absolutely torched them, averaging 31.5 points, while Ewing fought back but never got past him when it counted. The '93 Eastern Conference Finals summed it up. Jordan dropped 54 in Game 4, then ended the Knicks season in 6. The one time New York won, 94, when Jordan was playing baseball. Even then, it took a sketchy foul call and a Game 7 grind. Fast forward to now, and it's Jalen Brunson versus Josh Giddey. Brunson's been cooking lately, dropping 35 in a December blowout. The Knicks are up 11-6 since 2021, but let's be real, until they meet in the playoffs, Jordan's shadow still looms over this thing. Shaq Robinson. This rivalry was pure dominance versus discipline. Shaq's brute force against Robinson's polished two-way game. They faced off 64 times, with Shaq holding a slight 33-31 edge, but Robinson won 2 of their 3 playoff series. Shaq averaged 25.8 points and 11.8 rebounds, bullying his way to the rim, while Robinson countered with 19.7 points and 2.8 blocks, using his agility to frustrate the Diesel. The '96 All-Star Game summed it up. Shaq posterized Robinson on national TV, then claimed he was the most dominant ever, while Robinson just shrugged and kept locking guys up. Shaq won 4 rings to Robinson's 2, but the Admiral got the last laugh in 2003, retiring as a champ after helping dismantle Shaq's Lakers. Their beef? Mostly fake. Shaq admitted he made up the rivalry to hype himself up, calling Robinson too nice to hate. Still, when these two clashed, it was must-watch basketball. A battle of eras, styles, and egos. Shaq's power won stats, but Robinson's Spurs won when it mattered. Westbrook Durant. What started as an OKC bromance turned into one of the messiest breakups in NBA history. Durant leads the head-to-head 24-13 since leaving Westbrook in 2016, including a brutal 4-game sweep in the 2017 playoff, where Russ averaged 37 points on 39% shooting, while KD casually dropped 25 on 50%. The tension was nuclear. Remember when Westbrook called Durant a cupcake after torching him for 47 points? Or when Durant said he didn't talk to him anymore while winning back-to-back titles? Westbrook got his MVP in 2017 as revenge, but KD got the last laugh with rings. Even now, with Westbrook bouncing between teams and Durant still dropping 30 whenever they meet, it's clear who won the divorce. Westbrook's triple-doubles were iconic, but Durant's efficiency and trophies make this rivalry painfully one-sided. The ultimate what if remains: if KD never left, could they have won together? Instead, we got years of petty jabs and awkward handshakes. Luka trade. The Mavericks shocked everybody by trading Luka to the Lakers in a wild 3-team deal that also involved the Jazz. Los Angeles landed Luka, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris, and money. Dallas brought in Anthony Davis, Max Christie, a draft pick, and some cash too. Utah got Jalen Hood-Schifino and a couple of second-round picks. The Mavericks front office wasn't happy with Luka's conditioning and didn't want to commit to a massive contract extension. They wanted a superstar back and locked in on Davis, who waived his trade bonus to make it work. But things fell apart fast. Davis got hurt in his first game, and Kyrie tore his ACL weeks later. Dallas completely collapsed. The Lakers, meanwhile, got their guy. Luka's already helping them win, and they're clearly preparing for life after LeBron James. Utah walked away with some young pieces for their rebuild. Fans hated it, but it changed everything for all 3 teams. Kyle Korver trade. The Nets grabbed Kyle Korver with the 51st pick in the 2003 draft and then sold him to the Sixers for a printer. That's it. No player in return. The Nets needed cash to cover their summer league costs. and apparently to grab a new copy machine. Meanwhile, the Sixers ended up with a knockdown shooter who broke their single-season record for threes just a year later. Korver stayed with them for 4 seasons before going on to have a long career that included an All-Star appearance and a spot among the all-time three-point leaders. The Nets, though, got nothing long-term. That printer, probably dead within 5 years. This trade always pops up when people talk about overlooked talent. Korver even joked about it in a speech, reminding everyone that he outlasted the copy machine. It's a wild example of how chasing quick fixes can come back to haunt teams years later. Kobe trade. The Hornets picked Kobe Bryant with the 13th pick in the 1996 draft, then traded him to the Lakers for Divac. The move was planned ahead of time, with the Hornets selecting Kobe for the Lakers. Jerry West was blown away by Kobe's workouts and knew he had to get him. At the same time, the Lakers were chasing Shaq and needed to dump Divac's salary. Charlotte wanted a reliable big man and wasn't ready to bet on a high school kid. Divac didn't want to go at first, even thinking about retiring, but he ended up joining the Hornets a few weeks later. Kobe came off the bench his rookie year, but still won the slam dunk contest. Divac helped Charlotte win 54 games that season, but Kobe's career, 5 titles, 18 All-Star nods, and 1 unforgettable legacy. Looking back, this trade completely changed the direction of both franchises forever. Paul George trade. The Clippers went all in during the summer of 2019, landing Paul George from the Thunder in exchange for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, 5 first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps. This monster deal came after Kawhi Leonard made it clear he wanted George as his running mate. The Clippers jumped straight into the title conversation, stacking their roster with 2 elite two-way wings. The Thunder, meanwhile, took the opportunity to rebuild. Shai turned into a star, and those picks gave them insane flexibility for the future. The Clippers had a strong regular season in 2019, but blew a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets. Oklahoma City, somehow, still won 44 games and pushed Houston to 7 games. Long term, the Clippers reached the Western Finals once, but never broke through. The Thunder got an MVP. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to start posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Pierce Garnett trade. In 2013, the Nets gave up a mountain of assets to land Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Jason Terry, and DJ White from the Celtics. In return, Boston got 5 players and a treasure chest of draft picks, including 3 first-rounders and a swap option. Brooklyn wanted to win now. They paired their new veterans with Deron Williams, Joe Johnson, and Brook Lopez, hoping to make a title push. They beat Toronto in the first round, but lost to Miami. After that, it all collapsed. Pierce and Garnett were way past their primes, and Brooklyn didn't get anywhere close to a ring. The Celtics, meanwhile, hit the jackpot. They used those picks to get Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, 2 cornerstones of their franchise. Boston eventually turned it into a title in 2024. This trade flipped both teams' futures and remains one of the most one-sided deals the league's ever seen. Kyrie draft trade. Back in 2011, the Clippers dumped Baron Davis and an unprotected first-round pick to Cleveland for Mo Williams and Jamario Moon. Los Angeles wanted to save money and move on from Davis's big contract. Cleveland, fresh off losing LeBron James, took the risk and absorbed that deal in exchange for a shot at rebuilding. That unprotected pick had just a 2.8% chance to become number 1. It hit. The Cavaliers landed the top spot and used it to draft Kyrie Irving. He became Rookie of the Year and eventually helped deliver Cleveland its first championship in 2016. The Clippers, meanwhile, got a few solid games out of Mo, including a 52-point performance, but nothing long-term. That one pick changed everything for the Cavaliers and turned into one of the league's biggest what were they thinking moments for Los Angeles. Draft protections suddenly became a whole lot more popular. Anthony Davis trade. In 2019, the Lakers finally landed Anthony Davis by sending Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks to the Pelicans. New Orleans even got the number 4 pick in that same draft. Los Angeles made the move to give LeBron James a superstar partner, and it worked fast. They won 52 games that season and went on to win the 2020 championship. Davis dominated on both ends and looked like the missing piece. The Pelicans, meanwhile, went young. Ingram broke out right away, winning Most Improved Player and making the All-Star team. The team missed the playoffs, but the pieces were in place. The Lakers stayed in win-now mode, making more bold moves in the years after. For New Orleans, the draft capital and young core gave them long-term flexibility. It was a bold trade, and both teams ended up getting exactly what they wanted. Kevin Durant trade. In 2023, the Suns went all in and grabbed Kevin Durant and TJ Warren from the Nets. In return, Brooklyn got Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Jay Crowder, 4 unprotected first-round picks, and a pick swap. New Suns owner Matt Ishbia had just taken over and wasted no time making a splash. Phoenix wanted to win now, and Durant was the big move they believed would push them over the top. He debuted in March, dropped 23 in his first game, and helped them grab the 4th seed. He even became the first player ever to shoot over 55% from the field, 40% from 3, and 90% from the line in a season. The playoffs? Great for him individually, but Denver knocked them out. Meanwhile, Bridges thrived in Brooklyn, showing off way more offense than anyone expected. The Nets got flexibility, assets, and a real building block, and eventually shipped Bridges to the Knicks. Kawhi Leonard trade. In 2018, the Raptors made a bold move by trading DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a protected first-round pick to the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green. Toronto wanted a title, and even though Leonard had just missed most of the season with an injury and had 1 year left on his deal, they took the risk. Masai Ujiri bet everything on one season, and it paid off. Leonard led them to 58 wins and then carried them through the playoffs, capping it with the title win over the Warriors. He walked after the season, but the Raptors got their first championship ever. The Spurs, meanwhile, kept things steady. DeRozan played well, and Poeltl began developing into a solid big. But long-term, San Antonio entered a rebuild. This trade changed how teams approach risk, proving sometimes one incredible year can be worth everything you give up. Wilt Chamberlain trade. In 1965, the Warriors sent Wilt Chamberlain to the Sixers for Paul Newman, Connie Dearkin, Lee Schaffer, and $150,000. San Francisco was struggling financially after their move from Philly, and Wilt's massive salary didn't help. Even though he was dominating the league, management decided to reset. The Sixers saw the chance to bring a hometown legend back. Chamberlain had starred in Philadelphia during high school, and fans welcomed him with open arms. He immediately boosted the Sixers' competitiveness and kept leading the league in scoring and rebounding. The Celtics were still in the way, but the Sixers became serious contenders. Meanwhile, the Warriors fell off. None of the players they got could come close to replacing Wilt's presence. It gave them some financial relief, but on the court, it was a loss. The trade became a turning point for both teams and showed just how tricky superstar deals can be. James Harden trade. In 2021, the Nets pulled off a massive 4-team deal to land James Harden from the Rockets. Houston received Victor Oladipo, Ryan Kuric, Dante Exum, 4 first-round picks, and 4-pick swap. Cleveland grabbed Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince, while Indiana got Karis LeVert and a second-round pick. Brooklyn wanted a super team with Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie. The offense looked terrifying on paper, but injuries and chemistry issues got in the way. They lost to Milwaukee in 7 games and never reached the finals. Harden was traded again a year later. Houston hit reset, using their draft haul to build a young core. Allen became a cornerstone in Cleveland's resurgence, and LeVert flashed promise in Indiana before heading to the Cavs, and now in Atlanta. Pau Gasol trade. In 2008, the Lakers landed Pau Gasol and a second-round pick from the Grizzlies for Kwame Brown, Javaris Crittenton, Aaron McKee, 2 first-round picks, Pau Gasol's rights, and cash. Los Angeles needed help for Kobe Bryant and found the perfect fit. Gasol arrived, the Lakers took off, and they went on to reach 3 straight finals, winning 2. Pau became an all-star, earned all NBA honors, and turned that Lakers team into a powerhouse. Memphis got crushed in the media, but things changed fast. Marc Gasol developed into a star, winning Defensive Player of the Year and anchoring playoff runs. The other picks didn't pan out, but that one piece changed everything. The Lakers got titles. The Grizzlies built a new identity. It's a trade that looked lopsided at first, but ended up helping both sides in major ways once all the pieces came together. Chris Paul trade. In 2011, the Clippers sent Eric Gordon, Chris Kaman, Al-Farouq Aminu, and a future unprotected pick from Minnesota to the Hornets for Chris Paul and 2 second-rounders. The Lakers had a deal for Paul vetoed just days earlier, so the Clippers swooped in and changed their franchise overnight. Pairing Paul with Blake Griffin launched the Lob City era, filled with highlights, playoff runs, and a brand new identity for the Clippers. They won 40 games in a shortened season and made it to the second round. The Hornets, meanwhile, struggled early, but that unprotected pick turned into gold. It became the #1 pick in 2012, and they used it on Anthony Davis. Gordon showed flashes, though injuries held him back. Kaman gave them depth, and Aminu slowly developed. That one pick changed everything, setting the Hornets up for a new direction. While the Clippers finally became a team people had to take seriously. Dwight Howard trade. In 2012, the Lakers made a splash by trading for Dwight Howard in a 4-team blockbuster. They got Howard, Chris Duhon, and Earl Clark. The Magic landed Aaron Aflalo, Al Harrington, Vooch, Mo Harkless, Josh McRoberts, Christian Ainga, and 5 picks. Philly took Andrew Bynum and Jason Richardson, while Denver got Iggy. The Lakers built a super team around Kobe Bryant, Steve Nash, and Howard, but injuries and chemistry problems wrecked it. They got swept in the playoffs, and Howard left for Houston after one season. Orlando entered a rebuild and hit big with Vooch, who turned into an all-star. Philly never got anything from Bynum, who didn't play a single game. Denver won 57 games with Iggy, but he left the next summer. The deal became a classic example of high-risk trades going sideways. Showing talent alone doesn't guarantee success without fit, health, and long-term commitment. Damian Lillard trade. In 2023, the Bucks pulled off a blockbuster to land Damian Lillard, sending Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, and picks to the Blazers, while the Suns received Nurk, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson. Milwaukee paired Dame with Giannis, hoping to form a championship duo and calm concerns about Giannis' future. Portland shifted into rebuild mode, moving on from Lillard and building around youth like Ayton. Phoenix added depth and balance to their rotation, aiming to bolster their supporting cast. The Bucks won 49 games, but got bounced early by Indiana, with injuries hurting their playoff push. Ayton stepped into a bigger role in Portland, and the Suns got solid minutes from their new pieces. Long term, this trade marked a massive reset for Portland, a win-now gamble for Milwaukee, and a depth play for Phoenix. Bill Russell trade. In 1956, the Celtics traded Ed Macauley and Cliff Hagan to the Hawks for the draft rights to Bill Russell. Boston didn't have the right pick, so they got creative. Coach Red Auerbach believed Russell's defense and rebounding would unlock championship potential for his offense-heavy team. St. Louis wanted local star Macauley and saw Hagan as a nice offensive piece. Both sides got talent, but Boston got a legend. Russell instantly flipped the Celtics into a defensive force and went on to win 11 championships, including 8 straight. He picked up 5 MVP and 12 All-Star selections. The Hawks stayed strong and won the title in 1958, but they couldn't get past Boston when it counted. Hagan and Macauley had great careers, but Russell built a dynasty. Tracy McGrady trade. In 2004, the Rockets made a huge swing by trading for Tracy McGrady, Juwan Howard, Tyronn Lue, and Reese Gaines from the Magic in exchange for Steve Francis, Cuttino Mobley, and Kelvin Cato. Houston wanted to build around McGrady and Yao Ming, hoping the superstar duo could push them into title contention. Orlando, dealing with McGrady's frustration and trade request, brought in Francis to lead a new-look roster. McGrady delivered right away, averaging over 30 in the playoffs. But Houston still lost in the first round. The Magic missed the postseason, despite solid numbers from Francis. Long term, the Rockets couldn't stay healthy. McGrady and Yao constantly battled injuries, and the team never got past the first round with them. Francis didn't stick in Orlando long, and the rebuild continued. This trade all looked like a win for both sides early, but neither franchise got the long-term success they were aiming for. Towns trade. The Knicks brought in Karl Anthony Towns from the Timberwolves, while also grabbing James and Najee's draft rights from Charlotte. Minnesota took back Julius Randle, Devo, and a protected first-rounder from Detroit. Charlotte got 3 players, 2 second-round picks, and over $7 million. The Knicks made the move to chase a title and added a serious scoring punch with Towns. Minnesota looked to shake things up and reset financially. Charlotte jumped in to collect assets for a longer rebuild. Towns quickly fit in and brought some firepower to the Knicks' offense. He racked up points, hit the glass, and boosted their place in the East. Randle and Devo gave Minnesota solid experience, while the draft pick padded their future. Charlotte's young guys got more time, and the team looked ahead. Robertson trade. The Bucks landed Oscar Robertson from the Royals by sending out Flynn Robinson and Charlie Paul. Milwaukee made the move to surround their young center with a proven guard who could lead the floor and score with ease. Cincinnati looked to rebuild and move on from the tension between Robertson and coach Bob Cousy. The Bucks instantly took off, winning 66 games and putting together a 20-game streak. That same season, they stormed through the playoffs and swept Baltimore to win their first title. Robertson's leadership played a major part in that run. The Royals didn't find the same success, finishing 33-49 and missing the playoff. Milwaukee stayed competitive for years and even made another finals in 1974. Cincinnati never quite recovered and eventually left the city altogether. Carmelo trade. The Knicks brought in Carmelo Anthony, Chauncey Billups, and 3 other players, while sending Danilo Gallinari, Wilson Chandler, Raymond Felton, Timofey Mozgov, and picks to Denver. Minnesota jumped in and picked up Anthony Randolph, Eddie Curry, and cash. New York made the move to boost their star power, hoping Carmelo and Amari could lead a serious playoff run. Denver knew Carmelo might leave in free agency, so they got what they could, landing young talent and future picks to reload. The Timberwolves took what they could get to help with their rebuild. The Knicks made the playoffs that season, but didn't go far. Carmelo had big scoring nights, including 62 in one game, but real playoff success never followed. Denver stayed steady and kept making the postseason. They built out their roster using the depth from the trade. Minnesota's return helped their rebuild, but didn't shift the franchise. This move shaped three paths at once. Garnett trade. The Celtics landed Kevin Garnett from the Timberwolves in exchange for Al Jefferson, Ryan Gomes, Gerald Green, Sebastian Telfair, Theo Ratliff, 2 first-round picks, and cash. Boston pulled the trigger to pair Garnett with Paul Pierce and Ray Allen, instantly creating a trio built for title runs. Minnesota wanted to reset the roster after 12 seasons with Garnett and grabbed young pieces to rebuild. The Celtics exploded with 66 wins and ran through the playoffs to take home their 17th title. Garnett's defense and intensity completely shifted the team's culture. The Timberwolves couldn't find the same spark and stumbled to a 22-60 record. Jefferson showed promise, but the rebuild didn't come together fast. Boston kept contending and made another finals in 2010. The trade sparked a new era of super teams where big swings became the blueprint. This deal changed legacies, shaped rosters, and gave Boston another banner to raise. Iverson trade. The Nuggets brought in Allen Iverson and Ivan McFarland from the Sixers, sending out Andre Miller, Joe Smith, and 2 first-round picks. Philadelphia wanted to rebuild and move forward from the Iverson era, so they grabbed a steady point guard and future pieces. Denver went all in, pairing Iverson with Carmelo Anthony to create a high-powered scoring duo. Iverson put up numbers right away, and the Nuggets finished with 45 wins, but they got bounced in the first round. Meanwhile, the Sixers wrapped up a 35-47 season, but Miller kept things steady. They used the draft picks to grab Thaddeus Young and flipped one for Jason Smith. Both helped the team's long-term growth. Iverson's run in Denver brought excitement, but playoff success never followed. Sixers embraced a rebuild while the Nuggets kept reshaping the roster. Harden trade. The Sixers grabbed James Harden and Paul Millsap from the Nets, giving up Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks. Philly wanted to pair Harden with Joel Embiid to push for a title and fill the void left by Simmons sitting out. Brooklyn added depth, shooting, and future flexibility while moving on from an unhappy star. The Sixers finished with 51 wins and reached the second round, but couldn't get past Miami. Harden put up solid numbers and gave their offense a lift. The Nets made the playoffs with 44 wins, but got swept in the first round. Simmons never suited up that season, while Curry and Drummond stepped up in their roles. Long-term, Philly doubled down on chasing a ring during Embiid's prime, but Harden's deal added cap pressure. Brooklyn banked on potential from Simmons and future picks. Cousins trade. The Pelicans got DeMarcus Cousins and Omri Caspi from the Kings, who took back Buddy Hield, Evans, Langston Galloway, and 2 picks. Sacramento wanted a clean restart after years of missing the playoffs with Cousins, betting on Hield's upside and the value of draft assets. New Orleans tried to form a powerful duo with Cousins and Anthony Davis to push for the postseason. Cousins made noise right away with big numbers, but the Pelicans finished with 34 wins that year. The next season, Cousins put up monster stats before tearing his Achilles, which completely derailed the plan. He left in free agency not long after. Hield turned into a key piece for Sacramento, giving them a young scorer to build around. They used a pick to draft Justin Jackson, though his impact was limited. The trade became a gamble that never paid off for New Orleans, while Sacramento leaned into a longer rebuild. Kareem trade. The Lakers landed Kareem and Walt Wesley from the Bucks, sending back Elmore Smith, Brian Winters, Junior Bridgman, and Dave Myers. Kareem wanted a new city that fit his values, and Los Angeles gave him that. The Lakers made the move to build around another dominant big man and bring back their winning ways. Milwaukee knew they had to deal him, so they focused on gathering young talent to reset the roster. In his first Lakers season, Kareem won MVP and led the league in rebounds and blocks, but they still finished 40-42. Milwaukee dropped to 38-44, missing the playoffs like Los Angeles. Long-term, Kareem became the face of a Lakers dynasty, winning 5 titles in the next decade. The Bucks never reached those same heights. Moses trade. The Sixers brought in Moses Malone from the Rockets, sending out Caldwell Jones and a first-round pick that turned into Rodney McCray. Philly needed a dominant center to pair with Julius Erving after falling short in the finals, and believed Malone could be that missing piece. Houston couldn't meet Malone's contract demands and chose to rebuild with younger assets. The impact was instant. Philly stormed through the regular season with 65 wins and then crushed the playoffs, losing only once and sweeping the Lakers in the final. Malone won both awards and anchored the title run. Houston dropped to 14-68, feeling the full impact of losing their star. McCray became a solid player, but he never changed the team's direction. Caldwell gave them leadership, but not enough wins. This trade changed the Sixers' entire future and proved how one bold move could deliver the championship they'd been chasing. Irving trade. The Celtics brought in Kyrie Irving from the Cavaliers, who received Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, Ante Zizic, and 2 draft picks. Irving wanted out from LeBron's shadow and aimed to lead his own team. Boston jumped at the chance to add a proven scorer, hoping he'd push them closer to a title. Cleveland looked to stay competitive while preparing for the future. Boston finished with 55 wins, but Kyrie missed the playoffs. Even so, the team reached the conference finals and nearly knocked off Cleveland. The Cavaliers won 50 games and made the finals but couldn't handle the Warriors. Thomas never fully recovered from injury and was traded mid-season. Crowder gave solid minutes before moving on, and that Brooklyn pick became Colin Sexton. Kyrie flashed star power in Boston, but never quite clicked with the group and left after 2 seasons. Westbrook trade. The Rockets brought in Russell Westbrook from the Thunder, sending out Chris Paul, 2 protected first-round picks, and the rights to swap picks in 2 other years. Oklahoma City had just lost Paul George and chose to reset the roster, working with Westbrook to find a new path. Houston reunited Westbrook with James Harden, hoping the old duo could lead them to a title. Both teams ended the season with 44 wins, but the Rockets made it to the second round before falling to the Lakers. Westbrook had big stats, but was traded again the following offseason. The Thunder, led by Chris Paul, surprised everyone and pushed Houston to 7 games in the playoffs. Along the way, they picked up valuable draft assets for the future. Houston lost long-term flexibility, while Oklahoma City leaned into a rebuild with picks and player development. Rodman trade. The Bulls got Dennis Rodman and Jack Haley from the Spurs in exchange for Will Perdue and cash. Chicago needed a power forward after Horace Grant left, and Rodman's rebounding and defense made him the perfect fit. The Spurs were done with Rodman's off-court drama and wanted better chemistry, so they brought in a steady big man for depth. Rodman joined Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and helped the Bulls win 72 games, the best record ever at the time. They steamrolled through the playoffs and won the title over Seattle. Rodman dominated the boards and anchored the defense. San Antonio still had a strong year, but got bounced in the second round. The trade kept paying off, as the Bulls won 3 straight titles with Rodman, and he led the league in rebounding every year. The deal showed that taking a risk on a wild card can pay off huge when the fit is just right. Drexler trade. The Rockets brought in Clyde Drexler and Tracy Murray from the Blazers, giving up Otis Thorpe, Marcelo Nicola's draft rights, and a first-round pick. Houston wanted to reunite Drexler with Hakeem Olajuwon and boost their scoring for another title push. Portland honored Drexler's wish to compete for a ring and looked to rebuild with future assets. The Rockets closed the season with 47 wins and entered the playoffs as the 6th seed. Drexler stepped up big in the postseason, helping Houston repeat as champion. His leadership and scoring proved critical down the stretch. Portland didn't see much short-term progress after the trade, but the move marked a shift toward developing younger talent. The Rockets cemented their championship legacy, while the Blazers moved into a new era. Ray Allen trade. The Supersonics brought in Ray Allen, Flip Murray, Kevin Ollie, and a conditional pick from the Bucks, who received Gary Payton and Desmond Mason. Milwaukee made the deal to push for a playoff run, counting on Payton's leadership and defense. Coach George Karl had past ties with Payton and clashed with Allen, speeding up the move. Seattle knew Payton could leave in free agency, so they opted to rebuild with a younger all-star. Allen made an instant impact, averaging over 24 points. While Seattle missed the playoffs that year, Milwaukee grabbed the 7th seed, but got knocked out in round 1. Payton left that offseason, ending his short stint with the team. Allen became Seattle's franchise player and led them to the playoffs in 2005. Milwaukee never fully recovered from losing their top scorer. Kidd trades. The Mavericks first sent Jason Kidd to the Suns in 1996, receiving Michael Finley, Sam Cassell, and AC Green. Dallas made the move after chemistry issues and losing seasons stacked up. Phoenix wanted a top-tier playmaker and believed Kidd could lead their backcourt. Finley became Dallas's go-to scorer and helped shape their rebuild. The Suns stayed playoff-ready with Kidd, though deeper runs never came. In 2008, Kidd returned to Dallas from the Nets in a blockbuster deal involving Devin Harris, multiple players, 2 first-round picks, and cash. The Mavericks chased veteran leadership and championship focus, while New Jersey went younger. Kidd helped stabilize Dallas and guided them to consistent playoff runs. His leadership peaked in 2011 when the Mavericks captured their first title, with Kidd playing a vital role. Meanwhile, the Nets entered a full rebuild. Shaq trade. The Heat landed Shaquille O'Neal from the Lakers, who received Lamar Odom, Butler, Brian Grant, and a future first-round pick. Los Angeles moved on from Shaq after clashes with Kobe Bryant and contract issues, aiming to reshape the team around one star. Miami saw a chance to go all in and paired Shaq with young D. Wade. The Heat jumped to 59 wins and made the conference finals, with Shaq putting up strong numbers and nearly winning MVP. The Lakers fell off, winning just 34 games and missing the playoffs. Odom showed promise and became a valuable piece. Miami cashed in the next year, winning the title behind Shaq's presence and Wade's rise. The Lakers used their return to rebuild and eventually grabbed 2 more rings with Odom helping that run. This trade flipped the league's power, proved how bold moves pay off, and showed the risks of managing superstar duos. Darren Williams trade. The Nets brought in Darren Williams from the Jazz, sending out Devin Harris, rookie Derek Favors, 2 first-round picks, and cash. Utah didn't want to risk losing Williams for nothing, especially after tensions with coach Jerry Sloan and his looming player option. The Nets wanted a star to build around and made the move ahead of their relocation to Brooklyn. Williams only played 12 games that season due to injury, but he averaged nearly 13 assists and gave the team hope. He re-signed in 2012, but the team never found real playoff success. By 2015, the Nets bought out his deal. Utah used the trade to rebuild, developing Favors into a long-term piece and drafting Enes Kanter. Harris provided veteran help, and they stayed flexible for the future. Dr. J trade. The Sixers bought Julius Erving from the Nets for $3 million, landing one of the sport's biggest stars just days before the season. The Nets were crushed by financial demands after joining the NBA, including massive fees to the league and the Knicks. When ownership backed out of a promised raise, Erving held out, and the team sold his contract to stay afloat. Philly saw the chance to grab a superstar and made the move. Erving immediately became the Sixers' leader, guiding them to 50 wins and an NBA Finals run. Meanwhile, the Nets completely fell apart, finishing with just 22 wins and relocating to New Jersey the next year. Erving helped turn the Sixers into consistent contenders and won a title in 1983. The Nets faced years of struggles. Barkley trade. The Suns landed Charles Barkley from the Sixers in exchange for Jeff Hornacek, Andrew Lang, and Tim Perry. Philly made the move after missing the playoffs and facing Barkley's frustration with the team's direction. Phoenix saw a chance to add a superstar and push for a title. Barkley instantly lifted the Suns, leading them to 62 wins and grabbing the league MVP. That same year, he carried Phoenix to the NBA Finals, where they fell to the Bulls in 6 games. The Sixers didn't find the same success, slipping further in the standings while entering a rebuild. Hornacek played well, but the team lacked star power. Barkley's arrival turned the Suns into one of the league's best teams and brought national attention. Philly started over and searched for a new identity. Kyrie trade. The Mavericks brought in Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris from the Nets, giving up Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and 3 future picks. Dallas made the move to pair Kyrie with Luka and boost their firepower in the West. Brooklyn wanted stability and depth, especially after Irving's trade request and ongoing off-court noise. The Mavericks stumbled after the deal, finishing 38th and 44 and missing the playoffs. Irving still flashed his scoring touch, but the fit took time. The Nets stayed afloat and made the playoffs, with Dinwiddie and Finney-Smith bringing balance to the roster. Kyrie re-signed that summer, and the next season helped push Dallas to the finals before falling to Boston. Things shifted fast though. Irving tore his ACL soon after. Brooklyn leaned into a rebuild using the picks. Dirk trade. The Mavericks traded for Dirk Nowitzki's draft rights from the Bucks, along with Pat Garrity, in exchange for Robert Traylor. Dallas had done their homework and believed in Nowitzki's potential, even though he was unproven in the U.S. Milwaukee played it safe, taking Traylor, a known college standout. Dirk struggled early, but quickly grew into one of the game's top players, leading the Mavs to years of playoff runs and winning the title in 2011. Traylor gave Milwaukee 2 seasons as a role player before bouncing around the league. Nowitzki became the face of Dallas, shifted their global appeal, and redefined what a big man could do. Milwaukee's miss led to regret and changed how they evaluated international talent. This trade changed everything for the Mavericks and became a lesson in trusting scouting instincts over safe bets. It proved that one bold move on draft night can define a franchise for decades. Harden trade. The Rockets brought in James Harden, Daquan Cook, Cole Aldridge, and Lazar Hayward from the Thunder, sending back Kevin Martin, Jeremy Lamb, 2 first-round picks, and a second rounder. Oklahoma City couldn't reach a deal with Harden, who wanted more than the team was willing to pay. With Durant and Westbrook already locked in, the Thunder chose roster balance over big spending. Houston saw Harden as a future star and gave him the spotlight. He delivered right away, averaging nearly 26 points and leading the Rockets to 45 wins and a playoff spot. The Thunder still finished with 60 wins, but lost in the second round. Martin filled the sixth-man role, but didn't match Harden's long-term impact. Harden turned into one of the league's top players, winning MVP in 2018 and leading Houston deep into the playoffs for years. This deal changed both franchises and showed how money decisions can shift the entire league. Draymond Green. He's been ejected 21 times, the second most ever, just behind Rasheed Wallace's 25. On March 27, 2024, he got tossed only 4 minutes into a game against Orlando after arguing with the refs. By early 2025, Green had been suspended for at least 36 games. On November 14, 2023, he got 5 games for putting Rudy Gobert in a headlock. Then on December 12th, he got hit with a 12-game suspension for striking Nurkic in the face. He's racked up 171 technical fouls and 20 flagrant fouls, making him one of the league's all-time leaders in both. Back in the 2016 finals, he got suspended for Game 5 after a flagrant on LeBron James, and the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead. In October 2022, Green punched Jordan Poole during practice, and Poole got traded the next year. In the 2023 playoffs, he stomped on Sabonis and earned a 1-game suspension. Green's lost around $4,100,000 in fines and salary, even with career averages of 8.7 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 5.6 assists. His antics always steal the spotlight. Meta World Peace. He was suspended 111 games across his career, one of the highest totals in NBA history. His most infamous moment came on November 19, 2004, during the Malice at the Palace. He charged into the stands and fought a fan, leading to an 86-game suspension, the longest ever for an on-court incident. That single suspension cost him $5 million. In January 2006, he was suspended 7 games for elbowing Ginobili in the face. In May 2012, he elbowed James Harden and got another 7-game suspension. He finished his career with 157 technical fouls and 28 flagrant fouls. He was ejected 13 times, including once in November 2002 for smashing a TV monitor after a game in Madison Square Garden. He lost over $7 million from fines and suspension. In 2003, he destroyed a $100,000 TV camera after a loss to the Knicks. He once asked for a month off to promote his rap album. So yeah, meta world peace. Kevin Garnett. He finished his career with 191 technical fouls, the most in NBA history at the time. In the 2003 season alone, his MVP year, he picked up 16 technicals, tied for the league lead. Garnett also got suspended for at least 7 games during his career. On April 6, 2010, he elbowed Quentin Richardson in the face and was suspended for Game 2 of the Celtics and Heat series. His trash talking is legendary, but it often crossed the line. In 2011, he allegedly called Charlie Villanueva a cancer patient. In 2008, he reportedly told Carmelo Anthony that his wife tasted like Honey Nut Cheerios. Garnett was ejected 11 times, including a punch thrown at Chris Webber in 2001. He lost over $1,500,000 in fines and salary. In 2010, he was fined $25,000 and lost $110,000 in salary for his suspension. Garnett had high-profile feuds, including one with Ray Allen after Allen left Boston in 2012. One of the best players ever regardless, though. Dennis Rodman. He's without a doubt one of the most infamous players in NBA history. On the court, Rodman was known for his physical defense and aggressive style of play. During his time with the Detroit Pistons, they earned the nickname Bad Boys because of how hard they played, and Rodman fit right in. He constantly clashed with opponents, picking up technical fouls and getting ejected from games more times than he probably cared to count. But what made him truly infamous went far beyond basketball. Off the court, Rodman was a magnet for controversy. He was always in the headlines for his high-profile relationships and unpredictable behavior. Rodman was arrested several times with charges that included public drunkenness, domestic disturbances, and driving under the influence. His appearance made him stand out even more. Brightly dyed hair, wild clothing choices, and a body covered in tattoos and piercings made sure nobody ever forgot him. Then there was his decision to skip practice during the 1997 to 1998 NBA Finals to appear in a professional wrestling event with Hulk Hogan. And who could ignore his surprising friendship with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, which brought even more controversy? Ben Wallace. Like Meta World Peace, one of the biggest moments tied to Wallace happened during the Malice at the Palace on November 19, 2004. But besides that, on September 24, 2011, he was arrested in Bloomfield Township, Michigan, for driving under the influence and carrying a concealed weapon. He ended up pleading guilty to misdemeanor charges and was sentenced to 1 year of probation. Then, on February 8, 2014, Wallace was involved in a hit-and-run incident in Richmond, Virginia. He pleaded guilty to leaving the scene of an accident and was sentenced to 1 year in jail, although all but 2 days were suspended. These moments have cemented Wallace's reputation as a fierce competitor who's faced plenty of personal challenges too. Dylan Brooks. Brooks led the league with 18 technical fouls during the 2022 to 2023 season while playing for the Memphis Grizzlies. That total triggered multiple suspensions, including one after taunting the Dallas Mavericks bench on March 20th, 2023. Brooks has been suspended at least 5 times in his career, including a 1-game suspension in February 2023 after striking Donovan Mitchell in the groin. He also fractured Gary Payton II's elbow with a flagrant foul, earning another suspension. Brooks has been ejected 8 times in 513 career games through March 2025. His April 22nd, 2023 ejection for hitting LeBron James in the groin added fuel to his villain reputation. He's forfeited around $750,000 in fines and suspensions, including $336,000 in 2023 alone. Brooks thrives on provoking superstars like LeBron James and Kyrie while collecting 14 career flagrant fouls. His antics, suspensions, and polarizing persona have solidified him as one of basketball's most controversial players today. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to start posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Grayson Allen. He's earned a reputation as one of the most infamous players in basketball, starting with his college days at Duke and continuing in the NBA. While at Duke from 2014 to 2018, Allen became known for multiple tripping incidents that sparked outrage. On February 8, 2016, he tripped Louisville's Ray Spalding, and just weeks later, tripped Florida State's Xavier Rathan Mays. Then in December of that same year, he tripped Elon Steven Santa Ana, leading to a 1-game suspension many thought was far too lenient. His aggressive reputation followed him to the NBA. On January 21st, 2022, while with the Milwaukee Bucks, Allen committed a flagrant 2 foul on Alex Caruso, fracturing Caruso's wrist and leading to a 1-game suspension. Allen has been ejected 5 times in his NBA career, including a July 2019 Summer League game where he picked up back-to-back flagrant fouls on Grant Williams. He's collected 8 flagrant fouls and over 1,700 personal fouls in his career. Despite averaging 11 points and over 40% from three-point range through 2025, Allen's reputation for dirty play remains. His aggressive style, suspensions, and fines, totaling around $300,000, keep him one of the league's most controversial players. Bill Laimbeer. He's considered one of the most infamous players in NBA history, mainly because of his aggressive and often controversial behavior during his time with the Detroit Pistons Bad Boys era. Laimbeer was notorious for physical altercations, especially during the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals. In Game 4, he committed a hard foul on Larry Bird, which led to Bird throwing the ball at his head and starting a scuffle. The next game, Robert Parrish retaliated by hitting Laimbeer multiple times. Though Parrish was not ejected, Laimbeer's reputation as one of the dirtiest players in NBA history only grew stronger. On November 11, 1988, he and Parrish were both ejected from another game after another heated confrontation. Off the court, Laimbeer made headlines again in 1991 when he led the Pistons' infamous walkout against the Chicago Bulls. After being swept, Laimbeer and several teammates left without shaking hands. A move widely viewed as disrespect following his playing career, Laimbeer became a successful WNBA coach, winning 3 championships with the Detroit Shock and earning Coach of the Year honors twice. Still, his NBA legacy remains tied to his rough play and polarizing actions, both on and off the court. Zaza Pachulia. He's one of the NBA's most infamous players, with a legacy built on controversy and physical play rather than stats. His most infamous moment came during the 2017 Western Conference Finals. In Game 1, Zaza slid under Kawhi Leonard on a jump shot, aggravating Leonard's ankle injury. The Spurs were up by 23 points when Leonard went out, They lost that game 113-111, and the Warriors swept the series. The NBA later created the Zaza rule to penalize reckless closeouts. A year later, Zaza fell on Russell Westbrook's knee during a Warriors-Thunder game. Westbrook accused him of doing it on purpose, and Paul George agreed, calling it a Zaza play. Zaza collected 121 technical fouls, 15 flagrant fouls, and 5 ejections across his career. He was suspended 6 games total. In Game 4 of the 2017 NBA Finals, he punched Shumpert in the groin but escaped with just a technical. Despite winning 2 championships, Zaza's career averages were just 6.8 points and 5.8 rebounds. His controversial plays earned him $600,000 in fines and a lasting reputation as one of the dirtiest players in league history. Kevin McHale. He's a Hall of Fame power forward, best known for helping the Boston Celtics win 3 championships, but his career wasn't without controversy. One of McHale's most infamous moments happened during Game 4 of the 1984 NBA Finals against the Los Angeles Lakers. As Kurt Rambis drove for a layup, McHale delivered a brutal clothesline foul that sent Rambis crashing to the floor. The hit escalated an already heated rivalry and is often credited with shifting the momentum of the series in Boston's favor. McHale's intensity wasn't limited to the court. During one game, he became so fed up with the heckling fan that he walked over and grabbed the man by his tie, a chaotic moment that's still talked about today. Years later, while working as a broadcaster in 2019, McHale found himself in hot water again. During a live game between the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics, he was caught on a hot microphone making an insulting comment about an unidentified person. The remark was broadcast live, drawing plenty of criticism and sparking debates about professionalism. Despite his on-court greatness, these incidents have added a complicated layer to McHale's NBA legacy. Patrick Beverley. He's made a name for himself as one of the NBA's most infamous players, thanks to relentless defense, trash talk, and plenty of controversy. On May 2nd, 2024, during Game 6 of the Bucks-Pacers playoff series, Beverley threw a basketball twice at fans, hitting one woman in the head. The NBA suspended him 4 games without pay, costing him over $108,000. That same night, he refused to answer a reporter's questions because she didn't subscribe to his podcast. Beverley has been suspended 13 games in total, including a 3-game ban in 2022 for shoving DeAndre Ayton from behind. He's collected 141 technical fouls and 7 ejections during his career. In 2021, he shoved Chris Paul in the back during the Western Conference Finals. His physical style once left Russell Westbrook with a facial fracture in 2015. Beverley has lost more than $1.2 million from fines and suspensions. Despite 3 all-defensive team honors, his reputation as the league's biggest pest sticks. From taunting LeBron James with 2 small gestures to feuds with Luka and Chris Paul, Beverley's antics keep him one of basketball's most polarizing figures. Karl Malone. He's one of the greatest power forwards in NBA history, but his career and personal life are surrounded by controversy. On December 14, 1991, during a game between the Utah Jazz and Detroit Pistons, Malone delivered a vicious elbow to Isaiah Thomas's head. Thomas needed over 40 stitches, and Malone was suspended for 1 game and fined $10,000. His aggressive playing style led to him collecting 332 technical fouls, the most in NBA history. Off the court, things get even more complicated. In 1983, at 20 years old, Malone fathered a child with Gloria Bell, who was 13 at the time. A paternity lawsuit proved he was the father of Demetrius Bell, though Malone denied responsibility for years. He also fathered twins with Benita Ford in 1980. When he was 17, he eventually settled the case and formed a relationship with the twins later in life. In 2004, Malone was accused of making inappropriate comments to Vanessa Bryant, the wife of Kobe Bryant. This accusation caused a serious rift between Malone and Kobe. Despite his on-court accomplishments, Malone's legacy remains clouded by these serious controversies. Chris Paul. He's one of the best point guards ever, but his career has plenty of infamous moments that have made him one of the most polarizing players in the league. Paul's been labeled a master of the dark arts, using sneaky tactics like flopping, tripping, and grabbing jerseys to frustrate opponents. In 2018, he yanked Steph Curry's jersey off the ball in the Western Conference Final, drawing plenty of heat. Then in 2022, he flopped against Jose Alvarado to seal a playoff win over the Pelicans, sparking boos and endless posts calling him the king of flops. Paul's piled up 162 technical fouls, putting him in the top 10 all time, and he's been suspended 5 games across 3 incidents, including the infamous 2-game suspension in 2018 for poking Rondo in the face. He's been ejected 8 times, often for losing his cool with refs. His feud with referee Scott Foster has become legendary, with Paul losing 19 straight playoff games officiated by him. Despite averaging over 17 points and 9 assists in his career, Paul's $1.5 million in fines and relentless antics have earned him a reputation as one of basketball's most controversial competitors. Gary Payton. He's remembered as one of the greatest defenders ever, but his career is also packed with moments that made him one of the NBA's most infamous figures. Nicknamed the Glove for his suffocating defense, Payton was just as famous for relentless trash talking. His non-stop banter rattled opponents and gave him a major psychological edge. It's even said his interactions with Allen Iverson helped spark Iverson's legendary practice rant. Off the court, Payton faced serious controversy. In 2015, he was accused of assaulting a woman during a trip to Seattle. Though he was later cleared by a jury, the allegations attracted plenty of media attention. Payton also made headlines with bizarre accusations against Shaquille O'Neal, claiming O'Neal took part in hazing rituals involving human waste. Shaq denied those claims, but the story added another strange twist to Payton's complicated legacy. While his 9 all-defensive first-team selections and Defensive Player of the Year award in 1996 speak to his greatness on the court, it's clear his trash talk, conflicts, and off-court controversies have helped make him one of basketball's most infamous names. Rasheed Wallace. In the 2000 to 2001 season, Wallace set an NBA record with 41 technical fouls while playing for the Portland Trail Blazers. That year, he was ejected 7 times and even threw a towel at a referee, leading to fines and a rule change, introducing automatic suspensions after 16 technicals. Across his career, Wallace was ejected 25 times, the most in league history. One of his most infamous moments came in 2003 when he confronted referee Tim Donaghy in a parking lot and was suspended 7 games, losing over $1 million in salary. Wallace totaled 317 career technical fouls and was fined over $4 million throughout his 16-year career. Even during his championship season with the Detroit Pistons in 2004, Wallace collected 13 technical fouls. Known for his catchphrase, "Ball don't lie," Wallace's outbursts often overshadowed his talent. He clashed with coaches and teammates, including a fight with Bonzi Wells. Despite career averages of over 14 points and nearly 7 rebounds, his reputation for volatility became just as memorable as his championship success. Kenyon Martin. Known for physical play and trash talk, Martin admitted to grabbing opponents on the free throw line to gain an advantage. One of his most infamous moments came in 2004 when he mocked Alonzo Mourning's kidney disease during a heated argument while they were teammates on the New Jersey Nets. Martin later apologized, but it nearly escalated into a fight. In 2006, while with the Denver Nuggets, he was suspended indefinitely during the playoffs for conduct detrimental to the team after arguing with coach George Karl about playing time and refusing to return for the second half. His rocky relationship with Karl continued, with reports of them barely speaking. Martin also almost fought J.R. Smith after an April Fool's prank went wrong. Off the court, he was involved in a public feud with Mark Cuban in 2009, after Cuban allegedly called him a thug. Cuban later apologized to Martin's mother. In 2012, a woman accused of stalking Martin was arrested after walking onto the court during a game. Martin's career was as intense and controversial as his on-court persona. Rick Mahorn. He's one of the most infamous enforcers in NBA history, playing a huge role in the Detroit Pistons' Bad Boys era. Nicknamed the baddest bad boy, Mahorn was known for his brutal physicality and unapologetic style. On January 16, 1988, he yanked Michael Jordan out of the air during a drive, starting a full-on brawl. Mahorn was suspended 1 game and fined $5,000. He finished that season averaging over 3 fouls a game, part of why the Pistons led the league in personal fouls. Mahorn was suspended at least 8 games in his career, including a 2-game suspension in 1990 for elbowing Patrick Ewing. He racked up 124 technical fouls and 11 ejections over his career. In 2008, as an assistant coach for the Detroit Shock, he was suspended 2 games for shoving Lisa Leslie during a WNBA brawl. Mahorn's physical playoff presence helped Detroit win the 1989 title, but his confrontational reputation followed him into retirement. Despite modest stats, his 3,433 personal fouls and his role as an enforcer make him one of basketball's most notorious tough guys, with a legacy defined as much by bruises as by championships. Dikembe Mutombo. He's a Hall of Famer, known for his legendary shot blocking and 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards, but his career also comes with a fair share of controversy. Mutombo's 7'2" frame and sharp elbows made him one of the league's most physical players. In 1997, he caught Michael Jordan with an elbow under the basket, leading Jordan to call it a cheap shot. 2 years later, he elbowed Marcus Camby in the face during a playoff game, earning a flagrant foul and a $10,000 fine. Mutombo was also famous for his finger wag celebration after blocks, which earned him 148 technical fouls over his career. The NBA even considered banning the gesture at one point. He was suspended 5 games in total, including 2 games in 1999 for shoving Charles Oakley. Mutombo was ejected 9 times, including once for shoving referee Joey Crawford. Despite his humanitarian efforts off the court, Mutombo developed a reputation as overly physical, with over 3,900 personal fouls. But at the same time, also maybe the greatest defender of all time, John Stockton. He's widely considered one of the greatest point guards in NBA history, but plenty of players remember him just as much for being one of the dirtiest. In a 1997 Sports Illustrated poll, Stockton was voted the 2nd dirtiest player in the league, finishing just behind Dennis Rodman. Steve Kerr once called him a dirty bastard, and Vernon Maxwell flat out said Stockton was one of the dirtiest players ever. At 6'1", Stockton wasn't the biggest guy on the court, but he made up for it with physical screens that often led with elbows and shoulders. Opponents complained he constantly grabbed jerseys, tugged on arms, and threw in hip checks to slow them down, moves that often flew under the radar. He was also known for relentless trash talk and mind games that drove players crazy. Some argue Stockton's style was just part of playing hard in a physical era, but others say he crossed the line. Despite his reputation, he still ended his career as the all-time leader in assists and steals. But for many, Stockton's toughness and sneaky tactics made him just as infamous as he was great. Stephen Jackson. As part of Malice at the Palace, he was suspended 30 games without pay, losing $1.7 million, and later pled guilty to misdemeanor assault. In 2006, Jackson fired 5 shots outside an Indianapolis strip club after a fight, earning a 7-game suspension and community service. Over his career, Jackson racked up 171 technical fouls and 17 ejections, often for arguing calls or clashing with coaches. He feuded publicly with Don Nelson in 2009, refused to play, and was suspended 2 games. Despite helping the Spurs win the 2003 title, his temper regularly got in the way. Jackson lost over $3.5 million to fines and suspension. Even after retirement, he stayed unapologetic, saying he'd defend his teammates again if needed. Latrell Sprewell. His most infamous moment came on December 1st, 1997, when he attacked Golden State Warriors head coach P.J. Carlesimo during practice. Sprewell choked Carlesimo for over 10 seconds, left the gym, then returned and punched him. That led to his contract being terminated and a 68-game suspension, one of the longest in NBA history. 2 years earlier, Sprewell had a physical altercation with teammate Jerome Kersey. After the fight, Sprewell reportedly came back with a 2x4 and threatened to return with a gun. While serving his suspension in 1998, he was involved in a car accident and charged with reckless driving, resulting in 3 months of house arrest. In 2004, Sprewell rejected a $21.4 million contract extension from the Minnesota Timberwolves, saying, "I have a family to feed." He never played another NBA game and later faced serious financial trouble, including losing his home and yacht. He was also suspended 1 game for yelling obscene comments at a female fan. Charles Oakley. He's one of the most infamous enforcers in NBA history, known for his physical play and fearless confrontations. On October 25, 1996, Oakley got into a fight with Charles Barkley during a preseason game. After committing a flagrant foul, he sparked a scuffle that led to both players being ejected. Oakley was suspended 2 games and fined $11,000. In the 1998 Eastern Conference semifinals, he was at the center of a bench-clearing brawl in Game 4 against the Miami Heat, showing again that he was always ready to defend his team physically. Oakley's role as an enforcer earned him a reputation as one of the toughest, and in the eyes of some players, dirtiest guys in the league. Off the court, Oakley stayed just as confrontational. In 2017, he was arrested at Madison Square Garden after a fight with security near Knicks owner James Dolan. He later filed a lawsuit against Dolan and MSG, which is still ongoing. Court documents in 2025 even claimed Oakley's lawyer edited his autobiography to push a false story about the incident. Oakley's legacy is a mix of fearless defense, physical play, and headline-grabbing controversy. Matt Barnes. He's always been a name that sparks controversy. Barnes built his reputation on the court by never backing down from anyone. He got tossed from a game after shoving Serge Ibaka, then went on social media and picked up a fine of $25,000. During the playoffs, he was fined $50,000 for making comments toward James Harden's mother, though he did apologize later. Things got heated against Milwaukee when Barnes tried to storm their locker room and ended up with a one-game suspension. Off the court, it kept spiraling. He fought Derek Fisher at his ex-wife's house, leading to a 2-game suspension and a $35,000 fine. He was even investigated after a nightclub incident in New York. Then in 2024, he confronted a high school broadcaster, costing him his analyst job. Barnes stayed unapologetically aggressive, making him unforgettable in NBA history. Bruce Bowen. He's one of the NBA's most infamous defenders, not just for locking down opponents, but for a style that many called dirty. Known for his closeouts, Bowen often stepped into shooters' landing space, a move that led to injuries and a lot of controversy. Vince Carter repeatedly accused Bowen of stepping under him on jump shots, causing heated exchanges. Steve Francis injured his ankle landing on Bowen's foot, and Stoudemire had a similar complaint after Bowen stepped on his foot during a game. Things got physical with Ray Allen in 2006 when Bowen kicked him in the back while fighting through a screen. Allen flat out called him a dirty player. Another lowlight was Bowen jump kicking Wally Szczerbiak in the face during a game, a move many believed was intentional. The NBA eventually created new rules to protect shooters, in part because of Bowen's tactics. Despite the controversy, Bowen made 8 straight NBA All-Defensive teams and won 3 titles with the Spurs. Still, his legacy is defined by a constant debate. Was he just playing tough defense or crossing the line into dangerous territory? For many players, Bruce Bowen was the opponent you hated to face. Reggie Miller. He's forever linked to some of the league's wildest moments. Miller's rivalry with the New York Knicks lit up the 90s like few others. He went off for 39 points in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals, sparking heated exchanges with Spike Lee right on the sidelines. The next year, he pulled off one of the wildest finishes ever, dropping 8 points in under 9 seconds to shock the Knicks and leave Madison Square Garden stunned. Miller never shied away from trash talk either. He got into it with Michael Jordan early on, only to learn fast that poking the bear had consequences. Against Scottie Pippen, he whispered at the free throw lines just to throw him off. Even in retirement, controversy followed him. As a broadcaster, he's faced heat for his on-air comments, keeping him right in the spotlight. Miller's legacy is unforgettable, no matter how you see it. Isaiah Thomas. He's one of the greatest point guards in NBA history, but his legacy comes with controversy. As the leader of the Detroit Pistons Bad Boys, Thomas helped deliver back-to-back championships in 1989 and 1990. Under his leadership, the Pistons built a reputation for physical, aggressive play that pushed the boundaries of sportsmanship. One reporter labeled them thugs, and Thomas later reflected on how those perceptions stuck with him. One of the most infamous moments came in 1991, when the Pistons were swept by the Chicago Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals. Thomas, along with teammates, walked off the court without shaking hands. That move was blasted as unsportsmanlike and stained his reputation for years. In 2020, he apologized to the city of Detroit, admitting it hurt how people viewed the team. Another major controversy surrounds his exclusion from the 1992 Dream Team. Many believe his tense relationship with Michael Jordan played a role, though that's still debated. Even earlier in his career, his costly turnover in Game 5 of the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals against Boston fueled criticism. Despite all that, Thomas's fierce competitiveness and skill made him an icon and one of the NBA's most infamous leaders. Marcus Morris. He's one of the most infamous enforcers in modern NBA history. Known for his physical play and fiery temper, Morris has built a reputation for being both a tough defender and a player willing to cross the line. One of his most notorious moments came in 2020 during the playoffs, when he stepped on Luka's injured ankle in Game 4 and then struck Doncic in the head with a flagrant foul in Game 5, or when he smashed Justin Anderson in the head with the ball. These incidents led to his ejection, a fine of $35,000, and accusations of being a dirty player. Over his career, Morris has been suspended at least 4 times, missing 6 games for aggressive acts, including shoving a referee in 2022. He has racked up over 150 technical fouls and 11 ejections, often for clashes with opponents like Nikola Jokic, Jay Crowder, and Jonas Valanciunas. Despite averaging 12 points and nearly 5 rebounds per game, his frequent altercations and over $1 million in fines and lost salary overshadow his contributions. Markieff Morris. What about the brother? Drafted in 2011, he became a key role player and won a championship with the Lakers in 2020. But it's his reputation for dirty plays and on-court incidents that define him. On November 8, 2021, he delivered a cheap shot to Nikola Jokic, shoving him in the ribs during a game. Jokic responded with a brutal hit from behind that left Morris with a neck injury, causing him to miss 58 games. Morris was fined $50,000 for the incident, but called Jokic soft afterward, igniting a public feud. Over his career, Markieff has been suspended at least 4 times, missing 5 games, and he's racked up 147 technical fouls and 9 ejections across 815 games. He's lost over $900,000 due to fines and suspensions. His playoff antics, including flagrant fouls on players like Jay Crowder and Klay Thompson, have only fueled his image as an instigator. Even with career averages of 10 points, 5 rebounds, and a solid 3-point shot, Markieff Morris is best remembered as a modern enforcer whose aggressive style often crossed the line. Robert Horry. He's one of the most clutch performers in NBA history, with 7 championships and countless game-winning shots. But his career wasn't without controversy. Known as Big Shot Rob, Horry built a reputation not only for his timely baskets, but also for his physical and sometimes dirty play, especially in the postseason. One of his most infamous moments came on May 14, 2007, when he delivered a vicious hip check to Steve Nash during Game 4 of the Western Conference semifinals. Nash flew into the scorer's table, igniting a scuffle that resulted in Stoudemire and Boris Diaw leaving the bench area, leading to their suspensions. Horry was suspended 2 games and fined, but many believe his actions shifted the momentum of the series. Years earlier, in 1997, while playing for the Phoenix Suns, Horry threw a towel at coach Danny Ainge during a sideline argument, resulting in a 2-game suspension and a trade to the Lakers. In 2008, during a playoff series against the New Orleans Hornets, Horry set a hard screen on David West, who was nursing a back injury, drawing criticism for targeting a vulnerable player. Throughout his career, Horry was seen as a player willing to do the dirty work, often delivering hard fouls and playing physical defense in high-stakes moments. Despite the controversy, his legacy is defined by his ability to hit big shots when it mattered most, earning him 7 NBA titles and the respect of champions, even as his tactics raised eyebrows along the way. Kelly Olynyk. He's a versatile big man with soft shooting touch and respectable numbers, but he's also built a sneaky reputation as one of the NBA's dirtiest players. Despite his laid-back Canadian image, Olynyk's physicality has sparked controversy and resentment from opponents throughout his career. His most infamous moment came on April 26, 2015, when he yanked Kevin Love's arm during Game 4 of the Celtics-Cavaliers series, dislocating Love's shoulder and ending his postseason. Olynyk was suspended 1 game and fined $25,000, but Love called it Bush League, and LeBron James declared it not a basketball play. That incident branded Olynyk with a dirty label he's never quite shaken. Over his career, he's been suspended twice, totaling 2 games, and fined more than $100,000 for flagrant fouls and reckless play, including an elbow to Anthony Davis' head in 2018. He's racked up 78 technical fouls and been ejected 4 times, including for a flagrant 2 elbow to Terry Rozier in 2017. His playoff physicality is just as notorious, with 5 technicals in 58 games and moments like his hard screen that dazed Bradley Beal in 2017. Olynyk's monetary penalties total over $400,000, factoring in fines and salary losses. Public perception hasn't been kind. Kevin Durant once called him a player who catches you off guard, while Kevin Love's "not a basketball play" comment still echoes. Despite solid career averages of 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists per game, his 2012 personal fouls and reputation for underhanded tactics often overshadow his contributions. Iman Shumpert. Drafted 17th in 2011, Shumpert came into the league like a ball of energy with actual defense skills. As a rookie, he picked up votes for Defensive Player of the Year and made the All-Rookie First Team. Injuries kept crashing the party, but he still carved out a decade-long career across 5 teams. He won a ring in 2016 with Cleveland and became known for guarding top scorers while playing 3 different positions. Off the court, this guy stayed loud. Music, fashion, and even Dancing with the Stars. He hosted youth camps, launched a clothing line, and managed to stay relevant. even after his last NBA game in 2021. Nune, the first Brazilian drafted in the first round, he hit the league in 2002 and never looked back. He brought power, size, and underrated quickness, carving out a 17-season career with nearly 1,000 games played. Denver fans saw his best years, especially when he led the entire league in field goal percentage. Despite a torn ACL and a testicular tumor, he kept grinding and came back strong. He made an impact in Washington and Houston too, even dropping 28 points on perfect shooting in a playoff game. Known as a respected vet, a great teammate, and a quiet leader, he was the kind of pro every locker room needs. Glenn Davis, Big Baby, brought more than size. He had real game. Drafted in 2007, he landed in Boston and helped them win a championship in his rookie year. He was no star, but he knew how to shine when it counted, like in the 2009 playoffs, where he averaged over 15 points. In Orlando, he had his best run, putting up over 15 points per game in 2013. By the time he joined the Clippers, injuries slowed him down, but he still brought hustle. Fans loved the energy, the emotion, and the moments. Things got messy later, outside the NBA, but his on-court fire left a lasting impression. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm gonna start posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Chris Anderson, undrafted and unbothered, Birdman soared into the league with bounce, tattoos, and pure chaos energy. He played 16 seasons with 5 teams and blocked shots like it was a personal mission. His stint in Denver saw him lead the league in blocks per 48 minutes. And in Miami, he was a key spark during their title run in 2013. He missed 2 full seasons for a suspension, then came back and dunked on doubt. He brought high-effort defense, wild hair, and full-body ink, making him a walking mural with elite rim protection. Fans loved the hustle, the redemption arc, and the unmatched vibe he brought every time he took the floor. Steve Novak, a 6'10" sniper with zero interest in dribbling, Novak turned spot-up shooting into a full-blown career. Drafted in the second round in 2006, he bounced through 10 teams in 11 seasons, but always packed a flamethrower from deep. That 43% from 3 was no joke. During the Linsanity craze in New York, Novak rained triples and flexed like he invented the celebration. He led the league in three-point percentage in 2012 and still holds the lowest turnover rate in league history. Fans loved him because he stayed ready, stayed chill, and hit daggers. He retired quietly, but now drops takes as a Bucks analyst back home in Wisconsin. Patrick Patterson. Drafted 14th in 2010, Patterson carved out an 11-year NBA career by doing the dirty work and hitting timely shots. He played for 6 teams, including key years with Toronto, where he was a steady piece during their playoff run. He never blew up the scoreboard, but spaced the floor with nearly 37% from 3 and brought a smart, team-first approach. What I liked most was how he adjusted roles without complaining. Starter, bench guy, whatever. He played 719 games, and you rarely heard a peep. Off the court, he gave back through youth camps and spoke out on social issues. Quietly effective, quietly respected. A real pro's pro. Chase Budinger, a volleyball star turned NBA forward, Budinger dunked his way into fans' hearts with bounce and confidence. Drafted 44th in 2009, he ended up with a 7-year NBA career, mostly with Houston and Minnesota. He averaged nearly 8 points per game, shot over 35% from deep, and once dropped 35 in a game. Injuries slowed him down, especially after meniscus surgery, but his athleticism was undeniable. What really made him stand out later? That wild pivot to Olympic-level beach volleyball. Fans respected the grind, the humble personality, and his dual sport journey. Chase gave everything on the court, and then some on the sand. Ron Baker. Undrafted out of Wichita State, Baker fought his way onto the Knicks roster in 2016 and instantly became a fan favorite. He only played 96 games in the league, but his hustle, defense, and walk-on to pro story had New York buzzing. He averaged just over 3 points a game and shot under 27% from 3, but his energy made him stand out. The guy even landed an almost $9 million deal despite limited production. Good for him. He also won bronze at the 2015 Pan Am Games. Post-retirement, he moved into business and wrote a children's book, which is somehow the most Knicks thing ever. Respect the grind, Ron. Larry Sanders. Drafted 15th in 2010, Sanders became a shot-blocking menace with the Bucks. That 2012 season, he averaged nearly 10 boards and almost 3 blocks a game. He even had a triple-double with 10 blocks. But it unraveled fast. Thumb injuries, suspensions, and mental health struggles sidelined his rise. Milwaukee still gave him $44 million, hoping for the best, He briefly came back with Cleveland in 2017, but the spark was gone. Fans loved his raw defense and openness about anxiety and depression. His honesty was rare in pro sports, and he stayed active in mental health and fashion after leaving the game. A real what could have been. Sam Dekker, drafted 18th in 2015, Dekker's NBA ride was stop and go, but his overseas run turned him into a global hooper with hardware. After back surgery derailed his rookie year in Houston, he bounced back with a 30-point outburst in his first NBA start. He logged time with 5 NBA teams, including Cleveland and Washington, averaging just over 5 points per game across 201 appearances. Then came the fun part. He balled out in Russia, Turkey, and the United Kingdom, even snagging MVP honors with the London Lions. Dekker brought hustle, shot making, and steady growth. Wisconsin still claims him like a local legend, and honestly, they should. He made the leap his own way. Quincy Acey. He bounced around the league, but always played like his spot was on the line. I liked how much energy he brought. He wasn't flashy, just tough and reliable. Most fans respected his hustle more than his stats. He found a way to make himself valuable by adding a decent outside shot, which kept him in the league longer than some expected. His stops in Brooklyn and Toronto stood out because he was the ultimate role guy, always doing the dirty work, always supporting his teammates. After the NBA, he moved into coaching, which makes sense with his attitude. He's one of those guys you root for because he never acted like a star. Matt Bonner. The guy was never flashy, but he always found a way to stick. Drafted in the second round, he bounced through Italy before finally getting his NBA debut. Once he landed in Toronto, he quietly put up solid numbers, then got sent to San Antonio, where everything clicked. Bonner turned into one of the most efficient shooting bigs around, knocking down over 40% from deep. He wasn't out there swatting shots or flying around, but his fit in the Spurs system was perfect. He played in nearly 800 games and helped grab 2 titles. And yes, he really did a sandwich review series during road trips. Total wildcard move. Grievous Vasquez. He brought size, flair, and confidence to the point guard spot. Coming out of Maryland with big-time accolades, he entered the league as the first Venezuelan ever drafted. His early years in Memphis were quiet, but once he landed in New Orleans and later Toronto, he really started cooking. That 9.5 assists per game stretch was wild for a guy his size. His passing vision and ability to control tempo made him a fun watch. Ankle injuries crushed his momentum, especially after surgery in Milwaukee. Still, he carved out a solid 7-year career. Now, he's on the sidelines coaching, still repping Venezuela loud and proud, and still connecting with fans everywhere. Anthony Morrow, undrafted out of Georgia Tech, but he showed up ready to light it up from deep. This guy walked into the league and immediately started raining threes, shooting over 41% for his career. He scored 37 points in just his second game ever, which still feels wild. He bounced around the league with 7 teams, always giving teams exactly what they wanted. Pure shooting. He was never flashy, never the centerpiece, but you knew what you were getting. His calm demeanor and consistency kept him around for 9 seasons, over 5,000 points, nearly 1,000 made threes, and he never stopped being a problem from the perimeter every time he checked in. Norris Cole. He came in as a late first rounder and walked right into back-to-back championships with Miami. He wasn't the biggest or fastest, but he had real composure and never backed down. He brought energy off the bench, played solid defense, and hit shots when needed. His best stretch came with New Orleans, where he averaged over 10 points a night. Injuries slowed him down later, but he still made his mark across 6 NBA seasons. And he didn't stop there. He kept hooping overseas, dropping buckets in Europe, Asia, and even Puerto Rico. Champion, journeyman, grinder, always brought the effort. Robin Lopez, 17 seasons, over 1,000 games, and a personality that somehow outlasted his stat sheet. He never tried to do too much. He just blocked shots, boxed out, and committed to defense like it was his full-time job. Whether he was battling mascots or mentoring rookies, he had a role that mattered. He was the reliable big guy you threw into the paint to get things done. Never an all-star, but always respected. He signed a huge contract with New York, held it down in Chicago, and kept finding new homes thanks to his steady presence. Comic books, chaos, and classic post moves. That's Robin. Yogi Ferrell. Undrafted, but not unnoticed. Yogi turned a 10-day contract into a spotlight moment in Dallas. He dropped 32 points on Portland and got himself a multi-year deal on the spot. He carved out a steady role with the Mavericks, then spent time with Sacramento, Cleveland, and the Clippers. Over 250 games, he averaged just under 8 points and proved he belonged. His quick handles, Perimeter shooting and hustle kept him in rotations despite size disadvantages. Post-NBA, he's been racking up buckets overseas. From Greece to China, he might have flown under the radar, but he stuck around by doing exactly what teams needed: run the offense, shoot the three, and never slow down. Brandon Bass, picked 33rd overall in 2005, he turned a second-round start into a solid 12-year run. Bass was never flashy, but he had that rock-solid jumper and the strength to bang in the paint. He played for 6 different teams and racked up over 750 games. His peak came in Boston, where he was a reliable starter during some deep playoff pushes. Always efficient, he shot just under 50% for his career and hit over 83% from the line. He didn't talk much, just showed up and got buckets. After the NBA, he played in China and Egypt, still bringing that same mid-range fire. Pero antes, he showed up in Atlanta at 31, already a proven EuroLeague champ. Not your typical NBA big, he stretched the floor and played with that veteran toughness. In just over 100 games, he averaged around 6 points and 3 boards. But it was the grit and shooting that kept him in the mix. He played his role without drama, hit timely shots, and gave the Hawks lineup flexibility. After 2 seasons, he went back to Europe and picked up right where he left off. On top of all that, he captained North Macedonia's national team, leading them to a surprise 4th-place Eurobasket finish. A short NBA stay, but a respected one. Ben come overseas, showing that even when the league moves on, hoopers keep hooping. Charlie Villanueva, drafted 7th overall and immediately made noise as a rookie with a 48-point game. That scoring touch never really left. He averaged over 10 points for his career while stretching the floor as an early version of a modern 4. He had big years in Milwaukee, but his role faded after signing a long-term deal with Detroit. Still, he played over 600 games and never stopped shooting. Off the court, he inspired fans by speaking openly about living with alopecia and turned it into advocacy. Between his scoring bursts and work in the Dominican community, Charlie built a legacy that stretched far beyond his stat sheet. A unique presence and a fan favorite. Nikola Pekovic. The Timberwolves rolled the dice on a rugged big man from Montenegro, and for a few years, he was one of the most feared guys on the block. No frills, no finesse, just brute strength, post moves, and more screens than a tech convention. He peaked at 17.5 points per game and grabbed nearly 9 boards a night. Injuries ruined what could have been a longer run, but for 7 seasons, Peck brought serious heat in the paint. His quiet demeanor and hard-nosed play earned him cult status in Minnesota. Even now, fans remember him as the Montenegrin Mauler. All business, no apologies. A Balkan, bruiser through and through. Alonzo Trier. He went undrafted, but didn't waste a second proving he belonged. Burst onto the scene with New York, earning a standard contract in just 2 months. That rookie year, he averaged nearly 11 points while shooting just under 40% from 3. Fans ate it up, especially after he dropped 31 against Houston. They called him ISO Zoe for a reason. His second season saw fewer minutes, and he was waived in 2020, but that didn't stop him. He popped back up in the G League and kept grinding. His scoring instincts were never the issue. It was always about fit. Love him or not, Trier gave the Knicks something to cheer about during rough seasons. Dwayne Bacon, drafted in the 2nd round but carried himself like a 1st rounder. He showed early flashes in Charlotte, giving them some needed scoring off the bench. His best run came in Orlando, where he averaged almost 11 points and dropped a career-high 28 against his former team. While he wasn't the most efficient shooter, he played hard, attacked the rim, and always looked to get buckets. Fans appreciated the grind. Post-NBA, he didn't slow down, winning titles in France and Greece, then taking his game to Russia. From Florida high school legend to Eurocup champ, Bacon's journey proves you don't need to be a star to leave a mark. Trey Burke. You probably remember the crossover, or the deep pull-up 3. Burke came in hot as a top 10 pick, then spent his first few seasons flashing scoring bursts in Utah. That rookie season earned him all rookie honors, and he kept putting up double digits for years. He wasn't a starting guard for long, but he stayed relevant. Whether it was lighting up the Knicks bench or showing up big in Dallas playoff games, he bounced around, dealt with demotions, and never stopped grinding. By the time he went overseas, he'd played nearly 400 games and earned fans everywhere. A walking bucket, a comeback king, and a certified hooper. Tyler Ulis, listed at 5 feet 10, but played like he was 6 foot 5. The Suns gave him a shot in 2016, and he made the most of it, averaging over 11 points and 7 assists in his starts that year. His vision was sharp, his handles were tight, and his heart was oversized. He never got a long leash, bouncing to Chicago after Phoenix, and then briefly into the G League. Injuries and his size worked against him, but when he was on the floor, he ran an offense like a seasoned vet. Kentucky fans still talk about him like royalty. He didn't last long in the league, but nobody who saw him play forgot him. Aaron, quiet, reliable, and always professional. Basically the opposite of whatever chaos the Knicks had going when he was there. He carved out an 11-year career as a 3-and-D wing before 3-and-D wings were trendy. Peaked at 18 points per game with Orlando and shot over 38% from deep for his career. That jumper was smooth, and his defense made coaches trust him. He bounced between 6 teams, but Denver was always the best fit. Never flashy, but you don't stick around for over 700 games by accident. He was the definition of a solid pro, and fans respected how he handled his business, year in and year out. Reggie Evans. The man played basketball like he was mad at the ball. Never a scorer, barely cracked 4 points a game. But my God, he rebounded like it was life or death, over 7 boards per game for his career, including leading the league in rebounds per 48 minutes, more than once. He did the dirty work, full stop, no flash, all grit. Teams didn't bring him in to stretch the floor or rack up assists. They brought him in to box out, dive on the floor, and eat glass. He played for 7 teams and never changed who he was. Fans loved him because you never had to wonder what Reggie Evans was bringing. Rodney Stuckey. Coming out of Eastern Washington, he didn't exactly have the big school spotlight, but that didn't stop him from making it 10 seasons in the league. He played both guard spots and could fill it up quick, especially during his Detroit days. His best year, 16.6 points per game, and fans still remember those wild outbursts. He got picked 15th overall, earned all rookie honors, and scored 40 in a game more than once. Injuries chipped away at his later seasons, especially in Indiana, where he never really found his groove, but Stuckey stayed professional, ran youth camps, and kept close to Seattle. No drama, just buckets and effort. Pablo Prigioni. The man made his NBA debut at 35, older than most rookies' assistant coaches, but he earned his spot with sharp passing, smart defense, and almost 40% from deep. His Knicks run was his peak, setting the rookie team record for threes and starting almost half the games one season. Scoring was never his main thing, but he knew how to run an offense and pester ball handlers. After a quick stop in Houston and a short Clippers stint, he went back overseas. He's coached in both the EuroLeague and NBA, and fans in Argentina still see him as part of that golden group. Undrafted, overlooked, but always respected for how he played. Marshawn Brooks. He came in hot, dropping over 12 points a game as a rookie and earning all rookie honors during a forgettable stretch for the Nets. That 27-point night had fans buzzing, but things got bumpy quick. He bounced from Boston to Golden State, then the Lakers, barely sticking anywhere. After vanishing from the league, he clawed his way back in with Memphis, dropping 24 in a game just to remind people he could still score. His defense, not exactly his strong suit, but the guy stayed confident, played hard, and built a solid overseas career. China loved him. Italy's still watching him. He never quit chasing buckets, no matter how many doors shut. Festus Ezeli. He didn't even pick up a basketball until he was 15, and 5 years later, he was a first-round pick. That alone had people rooting for him. His best year was with the Warriors in 2015, putting up 7 points, over 5 boards, and a block per game. He helped anchor the defense off the bench during that title run and brought serious rim protection. But injuries hit hard. He missed a full year with knee issues, signed a big deal with Portland, and never played a single game for them. He tried a G-League comeback in 2021, but the knees didn't hold up. Still, that grind from Nigeria to champion? Legendary effort. Chris Copeland. He spent 6 years hooping overseas before getting a shot with the Knicks at age 28. When he finally did, he dropped 33 in a game and shot almost 43% from deep as a rookie. Fans loved his energy, his hustle, and the fact that he didn't waste his shot. His time in Indiana and Milwaukee was less flashy, and a stabbing incident in 2015 cut things short. He bounced back and even kept playing internationally. The guy made it from undrafted to starter, got buckets, and gave underdog fans someone to cheer for with pride. Alonzo G, undrafted, bounced around early, but once he hit Cleveland, he made noise. In 2012, he averaged over 10 points, 5 boards, and was grabbing steals like snacks. He had bouncy dunks, played physical defense, and made fans believe hard work could get you there. He got a decent deal from Denver, but that production faded fast. He ended up playing for 7 different NBA teams, plus stints in Poland, Puerto Rico, and Australia. Not flashy, not a star, but every coach loved his grind. He was a glue guy on bad teams, a hustle guy everywhere else, and a regular in highlight reels for those posters. Steve Blake. He played for 8 teams across 13 seasons and somehow still felt like the same guy everywhere. Steady, smart, and completely unbothered by flash. His game was all about control, dropping dimes and hitting spot-up threes at nearly 38%. He won a national title at Maryland, but never got close in the NBA, unless you count running point for late-era Lakers teams held together with tape. His best stretch came in Portland, where he played 3 separate times like a human boomerang. Never a big scorer, but coaches loved him for knowing when to pass and when to get out of the way. He finished with 870 games and the respect of every teammate. Gerald Henderson. He came in with athleticism and Duke polish, and for a while, he looked like the guy to lead Charlotte through the wilderness. He averaged double digits for 5 straight seasons, even dropped over 15 points a night at his peak. His jumper was solid, his drives explosive, and he played real defense on the wing. After 6 seasons in Charlotte, he did 1-year stints in Portland and Philly, then vanished from the league. Injuries played a part, but fans always saw him as dependable. Not a star, not a bust, just a pro who always gave effort. Sasha Vujacic. The man had a flair for hitting shots at the weirdest, most clutch moments. He carved out a nice run with the Lakers, winning 2 rings and playing his role as an irritant off the bench. His shooting stroke was smooth, nearly 37% from deep, and he hit free throws like he was allergic to missing. He played almost 600 games, never averaging more than 11 points, but always ready when called. After the Lakers, he bounced to New Jersey, the Clippers, then the Knicks, with a couple overseas stops in between. Always a little chaotic, always fiery, and somehow always ending up in key moments. John Henson. He spent most of his 8-year career swatting shots and dunking everything in sight. Milwaukee loved his length and timing. He averaged 1.5 blocks and shot over 55% from the field. He never stretched the floor, but fans didn't care. He was the kind of big who protected the rim and stayed in his lane. His best season came early, with over 11 points and 7 boards a game. Injuries started stacking up, and his role shrank fast in Cleveland and Detroit. But UNC fans cheered him on, and Milwaukee still gives him props for anchoring the paint during the early Giannis years. Not flashy, just tough, and always dependable. Tony Wroten. He brought chaos, sometimes glorious, sometimes confusing, always entertaining. He played 4 seasons and packed them with flair, especially in Philly, where he put up over 16 points a game one year and looked like a cornerstone for 5 minutes. He couldn't shoot threes, but he drove hard, played fast, and pulled off passes that didn't make sense unless they worked. That ACL injury crushed his momentum, and he never really got back. Still, 76ers fans remember the energy during the dark process days, and Seattle fans still ride for him. If nothing else, the dude never played it safe, and that made him unforgettable. Ramon Sessions. 11 years, 8 teams, and one of the smoothest stat lines for a second rounder. He scored in double digits for his career, ran offenses without fanfare, and once dropped 44 points in a game like it was no big deal. He hit 24 assists in another. Coaches trusted him, and teammates leaned on his consistency. He never stuck anywhere long, but he always found a way to contribute, especially in Charlotte, Cleveland, and Washington. No drama, no nonsense, just a pro doing work. Myrtle Beach still reps him hard, and fans remember him as one of the league's most underappreciated floor generals. Steady hands, smart plays, and respect from everywhere he went. Alexei Shved. He hit the NBA with flair, passing wizardry, and a shot that was either pure magic or total chaos. His rookie year in Minnesota showed flashes, averaging nearly 9 points and 4 assists, and fans liked the unexpected chemistry with Ricky Rubio. But his production dipped fast, and he bounced between 4 teams in 3 seasons. Then boom, he dropped almost 15 points a game in 16 outings for the Knicks, turning into a short-lived Colt hero. He declined their offer and jetted back overseas, where he went full superstar. Top scorer in Europe, Olympic bronze medalist, and Russian basketball icon. He never stuck in the NBA, but he left fans with moments worth remembering. Solomon Hill. Not flashy, not loud, but you always knew when he was on the floor. He did the dirty work, defense, hustle, spot up threes, and coaches loved him for it. He had 1 full season as a starter with Indiana, averaging almost 9 points a game, and parlayed that into a 4-year deal from the Pelicans. Injuries hit hard, but he kept coming back. He even made the finals with Miami in 2020, playing meaningful minutes off the bench. He was the type of guy who'd guard 3 positions, take a charge, then give you quiet leadership in the locker room. A real glue guy, just the way fans like it. CJ Miles, 14 years in the league. After skipping college, that alone makes him a legend. But he added a sweet jumper and some major scoring runs along the way. His best years came in Indiana, hitting over 40% from deep while starting and closing games. He dropped 40 points once with Utah, but mostly thrived as a 3-point specialist off the bench. Teams kept bringing him back because he fit everywhere. He knew his role and played it sharp. From high school star to NBA veteran, he made a living spacing the floor and keeping defenses honest. Fans loved the reliability, the streaky heat checks, and that buttery smooth lefty stroke. J.J. Hickson. He came into the league with a strong build, bouncy legs, and the kind of mid-range that said, "I don't shoot threes, and I'm proud of it." Cleveland drafted him in the first round, and early on, he was snagging rebounds and dunking like he'd just been insulted. His peak was around 10 points and 7 boards per game, and while he didn't stretch the floor, he did punish it. Portland saw the best of him statistically, but Denver gave him a longer run. He wasn't flashy, just solid inside scoring and hustle. After bouncing around, he left the NBA quietly, but fans still remember that one glorious 31-point game against Chicago. Tyler Hansbrough. You knew he was going to foul somebody within 2 minutes of checking in, and somehow that was endearing. He was chaos in sneakers, diving after everything, like the ball owed him money. Drafted after an iconic run at North Carolina, he never quite found that same dominance in the pros. He gave Indiana a solid bench enforcer, and fans loved the relentless energy. You weren't getting finesse, but you were getting elbows and effort. He never had a breakout season, but he carved out years in the league by just outworking people. The guy was a walking charge call. Jared Dudley. No one ever paid to watch him warm up, but somehow he always made the roster. He wasn't the fastest or most athletic, but he was always there. He hit threes at a near 40% clip and talked more on defense than some head coaches. From Phoenix to Brooklyn to winning a title with the Lakers, he became the guy teammates leaned on, not for buckets unless he was open, but for glue guy leadership and smart plays. He played over 900 games by just being really, really decent at everything. Somehow, that turned into a 14-year career and a ring. Derrick Williams. Drafted second overall. Expectations were sky high, but his career never quite hit that level. He bounced around 6 different NBA teams in 7 seasons, showing flashes of talent, but never consistency. Williams had the athleticism, could throw down dunks that got the crowd loud, and early on, he looked like a future star. But the shooting, just not reliable enough. His defense, pretty shaky. After Minnesota and Sacramento, it turned into a string of short-term deals. Still, he found ways to contribute, especially overseas. Fans liked his attitude, his hustle, and how he stayed involved in the community. For a role player, he definitely left a lasting impression. Marcus Thornton. Picked in the second round, Thornton made noise right away with 14.5 points per game as a rookie. He wasn't just a spark, he could flat out score. His best stretch came with Sacramento, where he dropped over 18 a game in his first full season. That 42-point explosion in 2014, wild. His shot was legit, hitting over 36% from deep in his career. He bounced around a lot. Boston, Phoenix, Houston, Washington, Brooklyn. But that microwave scoring stuck with him. The defense? Yeah, not great, but his story's what hit hardest. From junior college to NBA starter, he fought for it. Fans in Louisiana never forgot. Shane Larkin. At just 5'11", he had to scrap for every chance he got, but the guy had speed and court vision that popped. After bouncing between 4 teams in 4 seasons, his best run came in Brooklyn, where he averaged over 7 points and 4 assists per game. He even dropped 14 dimes in a game once. The defense wasn't exactly his strength, but his energy was constant. His time in Boston included a playoff run, but it was overseas where he really blew up. 2 EuroLeague titles, a Turkish League MVP, and a national team spot? Yeah, he made noise. From son of a Hall of Famer to EuroLeague star, Larkin made his own mark. Jordan Farmer, hometown guy turned 2-time champ, Farmer gave Lakers fans exactly what they love. Speed, swagger, and threes off the bench. Drafted 26th in 2006, he carved out a 10-year run with stops in New Jersey, Memphis, and even the Clippers, though that one didn't last. His best seasons came early with Los Angeles, where he played real minutes in back-to-back title runs. He never put up huge numbers, but the guy knew his role. With a career average of nearly 8 points and close to 3 assists, he delivered when called on, tossing 37% shooting from deep and solid defense hustle, and fans respected the grind. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.